Alexis here, coming to you with an awesome sale of 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com. I provide services like digital art, logo designs, packaging designs, web designs, social media flyers, and much more. If you're an entrepreneur with a business or a startup company, make sure you take advantage of this opportunity, getting 25% off when you use promo code OHURU25 at alexisfowler.com.
Peace, family. I hope all is well. I hope your Monday is off to a great start. I hope your week is off to a great start. Please hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. Also, make sure you share and make sure you subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. It really means a lot. I really appreciate everyone's support over the years. Again, we've been here. We're not going anywhere. Again, we aren't going anywhere. No matter what, we will always be here. Trust and believe. Trust and believe. Let's see here. A couple of announcements. Hold on. Yeah, we're good. We're good. Couple of announcements. Sorry for the tardiness. Well, I'm always tardy. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm always tardy. I apologize. I'm always tardy. Okay, whatever. Before we get started, got a couple of announcements. Announcement number one, we are rolling to Sierra Leone. We're rolling to Sierra Leone November 21st through December 3rd. Well, really December 5th, but November 21st through December 3rd, we are rolling to Sierra Leone. Please go to Danfo, that's DANFO, 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 .Africa. Please visit Danfo, DANFO, .Africa to learn more. To learn more. I hate the term Sub-Saharan Africa. I hate the term Sub-Saharan Africa. Why? I mean, why? Listen, you're more than welcome to come on and explain why you hate the term Sub-Saharan Africa. Then we're going to Benin in January for the Voodoo Festival, Senegal in May for the Jazz Festival, and Nigeria in August for the Oshun Festival. Come and roll with us. We will love to have you again. We will love to have you on all these awesome experiences. Again, on all these awesome experiences, we will love to have you all. Sounds like subhuman. No, it's just Sub-Saharan Africa. It's just Sub-Saharan Africa, you know. I don't take any I personally don't take any offense to it. That's just me personally. All right, let's jump into today's topic. Guys, we've discussed this before. I have a theory. And you could correct me if I'm wrong. I'll put the link in the chat room in about 10, 15 minutes. Again, I'll put the link in the chat room in about 10 or 15 minutes. But I have a theory. Again, I have a theory. You know, we are the original Hebrews. We built the pyramids. The Greeks came to Egypt and we taught them. In Europe, you know, during the bubonic plague and, you know, the white man was defecating in the middle of the street and didn't have a restroom. Us black Moors went to Europe and taught them how to use toilet paper. We built America. We used the Olmecs, and now we are the Cherokees of North Dakota. We are indigenous to North Dakota. You know, we are indigenous to Buffalo, New York now. White missionaries brought us Christianity, but that's us. That's ours. Jesus is black. Jesus is black. Oh boy, here we go. You got hacked. Hold on. I know who this is. Hack unit. He got hacked. That's Professor Lumumba trolling. That's Professor Lumumba trolling. I know that's you coming from your burner account. Hitting me up from your burner account now. But we want nothing to do with Sub-Saharan Africa, where we come from. And there's no confusion. There's no confusion that we are more related to Sub-Saharan Africa than we are Israel, the Olmecs, the Navajos in Buffalo, New York, the Egyptians. There's no, like, there's that. That's just the facts. Those are just the facts. Here's my theory. We are, the original Israelis, and whatever white people find value in, we want to claim it. And I'm not saying that black people did not play a role in building the pyramids, but we fight and defend to the death and say that it's ours, whatever white people find value in. That's my theory. And the reason why we are as excited about Sub-Saharan Africa in the same way we are about Black Jesus, and we are from Israel, and we are the Olmecs, and we are the Native Americans from Buffalo, New York, is because white people aren't truly excited and find value in Sub-Saharan Africa. That's my theory. And I'm sticking to it. That's my theory. When white people find value in it, we are the original Hindus, and we create, and the Hindus took yoga from us. They stole yoga from us. I've heard that we are the original Japanese and Chinese, but we don't want anything to do with Sub-Saharan Africa. We get more excited about all this other stuff than we do Sub-Saharan Africa. We want to be everything else but Sub-Saharan Africa, and the reason why, my theory, is because white people do not find Sub-Saharan Africa sexy yet. That's why we don't want anything to do with it. But Israel, like my Ghanaian friend told me, she said, Dynast, the reason why black people are running around calling themselves Hebrews and Native Americans is because America and Israel are two of the most powerful countries on the planet, if not the two most powerful countries on the planet. And people want to attach themselves to that power. So therefore, that's why. Jad and Zola. Yes, white people do travel to Sub-Saharan Africa, but they don't spotlight it and bring attention to it, positive attention to it, on the same level like they do all these other countries, all the other places I named. All right, we got a class clown, everybody. We got a class clown named Lumumba Speaks, a delusional Ohio fan. He's in the chat room. So we're going to give the class clown some attention. So we are going to give the class clown, Lumumba Speaks, some attention. A delusional Ohio State Buckeyes fan, okay, who's not going to a team that's not going to win the national championship this year. That's all I know. Again, a team who's not going to win the national championship this year. And those are facts. Lumumba speaks. Your team is not going to win the national championship this year. They're not. All right? They're not. Hold on, Dynas. Hold on. Hold on. Stop saying my own name. Hold on, Lumumba. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Absolute. Rep your PWI. You damn right. University of Georgia. Hold on. Where my magazine at? Here, right here. You know, I keep it back to back. Lumumba, where your back-to-back trophies at, Lumumba? Where your back-to-back trophies at, Lumumba? Where they at? Here we go. Bam. You're absolutely right. Repping it. Our homecoming this weekend too. Anyways, that's my theory. I'm sticking to it. No, what I'm saying is the reason why we are so in love or take claim to building of having built or to building everything else that we don't even no longer control or own is because white people find value in it and have validated it. Until white people find value and validate Sub-Saharan Africa on the same wavelength that they do Egypt and all these other places, Black people are not going to. So white people say yes. They bring us the Bible. They bring us the Bible, and Black people say, "Oh, we wrote that." They show us the pyramids. We built that. We're the Olmecs, the Chinese, and we created yoga. And I'm just traveling throughout West Africa, and I see all these beautiful cultures. You know, you have the architecture of Cameroon and Mali. You have the spiritual systems, voodoo, Ifa, that is ours. I don't care what you say about it. That is ours, that our ancestors, there's no confusion on who crafted and created that specifically for us. We want nothing to do with it. And yes, we're going to talk about football around here, okay? We're talking about football. Guys, hit the like button again. Please hit the like button again. Please hit the like button. And this is what proves my point. And somebody, I forgot who it was. It wasn't a Larry. It was somebody else who came on the chat yesterday. And people got offended by her. Sister, what's the sister? My Yoruba sister. What's her name? Man, what's her name? I can't think of her name right now. She brought something up, and somebody else brought something up as well yesterday. And Black people got offended, but they were right. This idea, and let me give a disclaimer. I used to think like this as well. Missy Barr, there we go. Missy Barr. I used to think like this as well, and I've stopped. You know, this idea that Africa is can't make it without Black America. That Africa needs Black America. I'm to the point now that there's only a small few that could really make a solid impact on the continent. What do you mean, Dynas? If somebody brought this up, and it's an uncomfortable conversation because somebody brought this up yesterday in the chat, and he made a great point. I'm here in Atlanta. Atlanta is the so-called Black Mecca. When I get up in the morning or afternoon or whatever, and if I want to get something as small as a bag of potato chips, I'm live, Brandon. I'm live. I'll put the link in the chat room. I'm live. If I want to get something as small as a bag of potato chips, I have to get my potato chips from the era. I want to go grocery shopping, get produce. I got to go to Kroger. That's not black owned. The only thing within walking distance of where I live in the Black Mecca that I could eat some dinner. I could eat dinner, go to a restaurant, but consistently, shit says 4 hours ago. Nah, we live. Only service that you could really get in the black community is getting your hair done. Okay, Dark Migo, can you shop black? Yes, but I'm like Brandy says, the essentials. The essentials. That's what I'm talking about. So we don't have the essentials in our own community provided by ourselves, which we used to have until integration. Again, which we used to have until integration. Who are we to pound our chest and say Africa can't do it without us? That's why I backed off. I used to be on this Africa needs us. Without us, Africa can't do nothing. I've backed off of that now. So I said discount mall off of Gabi. No, AJ, no. All these discount malls are owned by Koreans. The one off of Metropolitan, the one off of Gabi Road, the one off of Campbellton, they're all owned by Koreans in the hood. Now, and then inside of them, inside these discount malls, is all Senegalese and Gambians that run everything in there. So they ain't ADOS, they ain't FBA. No, we need each other. You're right, but I've stopped with this ego and this arrogance. I've completely stopped. That of we are the baddest of this planet on this planet, and that everybody want to be us. I've stopped. I've completely stopped. Yeah, now that's what's up. That's what's up. Columbus has a black grocery store culture market. That's what's up. Yeah, but in these like I said, in these discount malls, they're Korean owned, and it's Koreans and African immigrants that have all the booths in them. Because I go in them from time to time, get little body oils. My knockoff Tom Ford tobacco vanilla. Savanada is owned by Savanada is a co-op. Savanada in a little 5 points, that's a co-op. That's a co-op. That's owned by the community. Or like, yeah, that's white, black, everybody. That's a co-op. But we spend so much time, somebody's talking about the thumbnail. We spend so much time fighting and debating over an Olmec statue just because it looks like us versus embracing what is ours in Sub-Saharan Africa where there's no confusion. All right, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. Links in the chat room. Black America soft ass. We see that every time I get on the show, crying, complaining about my delivery. I want to bring up something else too, and this is another point I gotta make. This whole Africa, I'm gonna do a separate show on this. This whole complaint that Africa is not developed, that we not going there because it's not developed. See, this is the problem I have with that argument. There's some truth to it, But this is the problem I have with that argument. If we built the pyramids, if we taught the white man how to wipe his ass, and take a shower, if we taught Herodotus, the ancient sacred records of Tahuti, if we built America, if we are the Olmecs, if you are part of the most educated group in America, why are you so afraid or offended or upset or defeated or have every excuse when it comes to staying away from Africa because of the development? Again, we built all these things. If we built the pyramids, went to the Moors, went to Europe, and taught the white man how to take a shower, and all this other stuff I hear. We built America. If it wasn't for Black Americans, you immigrants wouldn't be over here. And all this other stuff. All this other stuff. We the Olmecs. We built the pyramids in we the Aztecs, and we built the pyramids in Mexico. Why are you guys so offended or so, what's the word I want to use? You don't want to put in any effort. Are you so hesitant to engage Sub-Saharan Africa? But I go over there, I see whites, I see Asians, I see Lebanese, no problem, doing their thing. Building. Let me bring Brandon up. Go ahead, Brandon. Unmute yourself, Brandon. Man, take off that sweatshirt. Man,
let's get it.
Take off that sweatshirt.
Let's get it.
Man.
Let's get it. Hey, no team in the country has the resume that we have. That's what's good.
In 10,000 dynasty, in 10,000, can you hear me okay?
I hear you. Go ahead.
In 10,000 years, Negroes will be talking about how they built the Slauson swap meet in the Fox Hills Mall. That is the same thing as the Olmecs. Negroes think because something resembles them and that they built it. They think, you know how when you I'll give you a prime example, Diners. You know how when you go to Santa Monica, right? And the dude draws a picture of you and your girl or whatever, right?
Right.
The picture is not an accurate depiction of you. It is actually it's a depiction of you with all the main features of your face emphasized, right? The same thing exists in art. Niggas think because a statue got big lips, that's supposed to look like a black person. The statue can't just have big lips and a big nose because they're emphasizing the features of the statue to make it look more divine or more intimidating or more powerful, right? It's like if you draw a dragon. You could draw a dragon breathing fire. That don't mean dragons exist, but you're going to draw the most fiercest dragon you can by highlighting or emphasizing certain features that people believe are the most pronounced or evident features of a dragon. So in reality, name one god in any religion that has a physical depiction that don't got emphasis on certain aspects of it. It doesn't mean that we built it. It just means that those people built that god to look like whatever that god looks like. If you look at Hindu, Vishnu, or whatever, dude got like 8, 12 arms. Is that so? So basically, can the octopuses come on land and be like, we built this statue and built this because we have 8 arms? No, it's just certain features and characteristics. But the reality is, Dinus, black people are scared of their own shadow. That for one, and we are also afraid of competing for anything. I learned that doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Professor Lumumba learned that doing boxing. How many times have you had the loudmouth, ignorant Negro walk into the gym challenging people? He gets in the ring, throws on the gloves, and within 1 or 2 rounds, he's gassed out and he's getting beat up, and now he wants to take a timeout, pause, whatever. Or the guy who comes in and says, I could beat everybody up in this room or in this gym, and then you tell him, well, get in the ring, loudmouth, and he doesn't want to even get in the ring because why? Because he's scared? Yes, because he's scared of finding out that he is not the best damn boxer since Muhammad Ali.
So
And that's what Black people believe on a larger scale. We don't want to try because we don't want to learn the lesson that comes along with failing at things. And we know, as all of us on here know, in order to gain anything, you're going to have to be comfortable with the idea that you might fail at trying, you know? But Black people are like, if we try it and it doesn't work, now we're not going to have all these ancient freaking Negro excuses that we've been using for decades to justify how we the best thing since sliced bread. So they're not going to no Sub-Saharan Africa. It takes a certain type of Black person to do the stuff that we do over in Africa. That's why there needs to be a separation amongst Negroes. The ones who want to do something, and the got to get away from the ones who just ain't shit.
All right, Brandon, let me pass it. Go ahead, Professor Lumumba. Go ahead. Let me put some respect on your name, even though you're a House State fan.
First off, OHIO. Okay. So there's a couple of things. One, this is a good conversation, right? Because we tend to find this. I've even dealt with this in my class that I'm teaching. I'm teaching 4 courses this semester where students are trying to make claim. All right, let me just get to it. I had a student state in my class that Jesus was African. And so I said, well, the Bible says he's Jewish. What the French toast are you talking about?
But the Jews is us.
Right? And so we had to go through this whole thing. And I'm like, yo, like you're making stuff up. Right? And I said, part of this is because you want to identify with a group that you believe is more powerful than what you actually are. So the only reason you're trying to identify as something else is because you don't like what you actually are. That's the reality. We find the same thing in terms of Black people who try to say that they're multicultural but not Black. We find this for individuals in the LGBTQ community who say, I'm not a man, I'm a woman, I'm a woman, I'm not a man. People don't try to change what they are if they view what they are as positive. That's just the reality. There's no way around that, right? But I will say this, that if you've studied the scholarship regarding Egyptology, most reputable scholars will argue that the people who built the pyramids were Africans.
I agree. It's just we focus so much on it.
And that I would agree with that. And oftentimes, okay, you're focusing on this, but now what's the point? Now, I get it. Some of it you're trying to push back against white people. You know, they're trying to say aliens built pyramids and all that type of stuff. I get all of that. But I really focus on, okay, how can we take all these great things we've done and build institutions to benefit us today? Because, you know, Dr. Amos Wilson talked about this is nothing more than pseudo-nationalism, where you praise pyramids of yesteryear, but you don't build pyramids of today to serve our people. So I would agree with you 100% there. I even had someone say that, you know, we wrote the Bible. And I said, well, if that was true, why is the religion antagonistic to the culture? Right? Because in the Bible, it says that you shouldn't get tattoos, right? But tattooing was an African cultural rites of passage, right? And in the Bible, you shouldn't venerate your ancestors because that's considered idolatry. So I said, if we created this religion, then why in the HE double hockey sticks, right? Is it antagonistic to the culture if we created it? I mean, come on, make it make sense. So a lot of this is misinformation. A lot of this, I would argue, is based on, and many of us grew up in church, right? To where, you know, in church, they be making stuff up. They just make shit up. And you believe it because the person's a man or woman of God, right? I've dealt with that a lot in my class where we have to actually deal with hard history, right? Rather than just a narrative that your deacon or your bishop taught you, right? So, but a lot of this is rooted in the fact that self-abnegation, Black people want to identify as something other than what they are. Some people would argue that this is a form of escapism, where they're trying to escape anti-Black racism with the vicissitudes of anti-Blackness in America and globally, rather than combating anti-Black racism. And that's not by being a consumer, by being a producer, by being a builder, by being a creator.
Can I clarify one thing? Jesus was a Palestinian Jew and a Roman, I believe he was a Roman citizen even. So Jewish is a religion, not a race of people.
Or we can
That's
say
a religion.
Hebrew or Israelite, whatever. But you know what I mean.
All right,
And
go ahead.
I know
Yeah,
this
just for the
ain't got
record.
nothing to
Just
do
for the
with me.
record.
I know it ain't got nothing to do with me. I could care less. But once again, black people value this because they actually. Matter of fact, my brother's a Hebrew Israelite. How the hell that happened, I don't know. He was never the sharpest knife in the drawer growing up, right? But I told my brother, I said, the reason you believe that you want to be a Hebrew Israelite is because you actually think that there's a chosen people, right? Because if you actually break down, or Dr. John Henry Clark talks about this, writes about this rather eloquently and poetically in his book, Christopher Columbus and African Holocaust, he says, if God, your God, has a chosen people, then your God is a bigot. And then if you actually read the Old Testament, and many of us have, I know I have, throughout the Old Testament, when Jewish people come in, with Jewish, Hebrew, with Israelite, whatever you want to call them, came in contact with people who were not children of Israel, who did not believe in the Jewish God, God told them throughout the Old Testament to kill them.
It wasn't even a bigotry. It was a cult because they discriminate against even people who were of their own group. Because think of the Samaritans. The Samaritans was Hebrews too. They just banished them because they worshiped different gods. They literally came from the
But that's part of bigotry. Bigotry is the
yeah.
intolerance of different racial or religious groups.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let me read this.
Wait, what's the other guy? I'm sorry, the other brother. He said he want to speak. But OHIO, let's throw that shit up.
Whatever, man. All right, Mr. Sandman, is it possible our ancestors came to America way before Europeans and taught the Native American civilization? That's why they made statues of us. I'm not.
It's a great story.
It's a great story.
It's a great story. Matter of fact, and a lot of people talk about this whole issue regarding the Olmec eggs because of the book Dr. Ivan Van Sertima wrote. They came before Columbus. I actually have the book behind me, but most people haven't actually read the book. In the book, he provides no scholarly sources, no historical sources. The book is entirely made up of what? Fantastical, colorful storytelling. I know this because I read the book. So he doesn't actually cite, he doesn't provide any historical references to make the claim. It's just colorful storytelling. And that was one of the biggest critiques of the book in the academy, that he doesn't have any sources to actually substantiate the claim that he's arguably trying to make in the book.
Let me pass it to G-Man. Go ahead, G-Man. Unmute yourself.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. This is a very interesting conversation. First of all, thank you for letting me on the show and this is a very interesting conversation because I think that, Dynast, when you talked about Black people being afraid of engaging with Africa, here's the thing. Black people are afraid to engage in their own communities in America. So we haven't even gotten to the point of building things in our own communities in America in building self-sustaining communities, right? So I feel like,
well, if I can interject, sorry to interrupt. We did. It's just we chose to integrate.
Black people have been incentivized not to build or do anything in America. If you got Section 8 housing, you can't get no damn job or you lose the free rent, the low rent. So you want to we're risk averse. Why would you risk getting a job, losing your Section 8, and then they could fire you from the job the week after you lose your Section 8?
Let G-Man, go ahead, G-Man.
Yeah, so that's a good point. It's a good point. We had, there have been a lot of very questionable programs that have been highly destructive to the Black community. I don't dispute that, but my whole thing is that we, like Black people, I think what it is, I think the root of the problem, here's the root of the problem, right? When you're talking about like black people talking about the Olmecs and the Egyptians and building America and all this other stuff, all this stuff you'll notice is all this stuff is stuff that was done in the past. Whether it's done by black people or not, I think in my opinion is irrelevant. It was all done in the past. And here's the thing, black people like projecting about the past, but they don't like projecting about the future. And that's why we are having these issues in our community. That's the sort of the root of the problem. Is the root of the problem why people don't build anything, why they don't, why such low numbers of us get college educations, and why such low numbers of us have high credit scores. You know, only 20% of Black Americans have a credit score over 700. Okay, so here's the thing, right? We don't think about the future. That's the root of the problem. And that is why we are why we're suffering right now as a community, why we have low levels of wealth, why we don't pass on our wealth to our children because we're selfish, and we don't think about the future. So that's the biggest problem. It's not the Egyptians, not the Olmecs. All this is just it's just silliness. Okay, we have real problems right now in the Black community, and we are projecting all this weird historical pseudoscience and pseudo nonsense that has nothing to do with our current situation, and it's just a distraction. And so that's my whole thing. That's my whole thought about this. That's really what the root of the issue is.
I would say that Black people. Can I push back against that a little bit, Dynas?
Go ahead. I'm gonna pass it to Omar.
Okay, Black people. I wouldn't say we don't think about the future, because if you talk to any Black person in America and say, "Hey, bro, tomorrow I'm gonna give you $1 million, or I'm gonna give you $500,000," what is the first thing any Black person is gonna do? They're gonna buy a house. That shows you that Black people do have an awareness of wealth and things that appreciate, assets that appreciate with value and all that. But I believe many Black people just feel like they are never in a position to actually pursue those things in a realistic way. And I believe that stems from the fact that we compete with each other, even subconsciously. Because how many Black people with the information on how to get shit done share that information with other Black people in a non-predatory way, right? Dynas, you're a real estate agent. You deal with that all the time. You go to people who could easily afford to buy a house, and when you break down the numbers to them, they like, "What? You mean to tell me I could afford a home? I could actually pay for a home what I'm paying in rent right now?" Why haven't those people pursued that when they have the means? Because they never got the information. But I guarantee you, every last one of those people has a relative or family member who owns a home, who understands the in and outs and process of buying a home. Black folks compete with each other. So when a Negro get a crumb, he's going to do everything in his power, or he's just going to voluntarily not offer consciously refuse to offer information to his next family member. And you know that's true, because look at other racial groups. Filipinos or Mexicans or whatever, they'll all live in a house together. So when the son say, "Dad, Pop, I want to get married and I want to get my own house," the dad could say, "Son, I'm gonna help you get you a house, or you could add on to this house and y'all just live here. We could put a back house." They share information freely with each other. They don't charge each other, especially within their family units, for information that will do what? Increase the overall wealth of the family. Only Negroes do that.
Agricultural concept. Oh, I'm sorry, Omar. Let me pass it to Omar first, then I pass it to agricultural concepts. Go ahead, Omar. Unmute yourself. Omar, unmute yourself.
Okay, you hear me now? Hey, thanks for having me on, Dynas.
Go ahead.
Peace to the stage. Yeah. I mean, listen, man. it's many black communities across America, right? Some need help more than others, So I think we have to put that in context. I was just at my nephew's football game. He's on one of the top football teams in the country, right? And all the people that come together in the community, they're all black. I'm in Philadelphia, right? The president of the league, the coaches, the moms, and this is a communal thing. So there is a black community. I just want to put that out there.
If I can interject, when it comes to sports,
Okay.
especially, sorry about that, like
Yeah.
high school of athletics, youth league, youth rec league, youth rec leagues. Yeah, of course, you're gonna see nothing but black faces with sports teams in the black community. Like Brandon said, we're talking essentials. Like the example I brought up. If I wanted right now, I'm in Atlanta, the Black Mecca. If I wanted to go get some Gatorade, I gotta go to the Arab down the street. If I want to go grocery shopping, I gotta go to Kroger. If only thing that I could get within walking distance is maybe some food from a restaurant. Now, there's some black restaurants in my community.
That's a fact. That's the
point. And nothing stops black folks from setting up on the corner like Mexicans do here. So with a city with that many black people, and I'm sure plenty of them is without a job, you are baffled to see that there's no outside merchants on the corners and stuff selling food, selling Gatorade, selling water, selling toilet paper, because in LA, Mexicans doing that.
Brandon, they were doing the water boys, they were selling the water, but they was hella aggressive. So, they kind of got shut down a little bit. So
Yeah. Well,
like grown folks.
Yeah. Well, let me finish what I was saying. But listen, I'm in Philly, right? The home of the AME church, right? 1817 created, right? But the Muslim culture of blacks dominate now in Philadelphia, right? And I think one of the things, because I know we talking about Hebrew Israelites and this and that, I think this is just my little theory. And this is because like I said, each community is different, right? In my community, what I see is I think the Islamic culture has dominated than being black first. Like a lot of these Muslim brothers don't even see themselves as black first now. They are identifying with Palestinians who don't give a shit about them, right? Over their black skin. And I think this is where some of us, right, have this whole Islamic thing wrong, right? So, I think each community has to work out the kinks in their own community. This is a big country. Every black community is not the same. But this is one of the problems that I'm seeing in Philadelphia. You try to get in some institutions or some organizations, they won't let me in, Dynas, because I ain't a Muslim. Or Joe Blow's not a Muslim. Or
Omar, you know what's crazy about Philly? These same Muslims will make salat, then go out and go sell dope around the corner from their mosque.
That's a fact.
But Omar, the bigger issue with it is not access, right? I'm gonna tell you the one word that sums up why black people do not have success in any avenue in the major city: consistency. Let me tell you what I know. If I go to the corner right now and I sell waters on the corner every single day, like this taco lady with this taco stand right here off of 7th Street by my house. If I go out and sell waters every day, I promise you, people will start to look at me as the source of buying water, just like people go right past the Mexican restaurants and go to that lady as a source of buying tacos and burritos. Black people want some shit to be instantly successful. If a black person stand out there all day and don't make shit but $20, Dynas, he ain't gonna be out there tomorrow. Let a Mexican be out there all day. Like, those Mexican fruit guys, Dynas, who push those fruit carts?
Yeah, they got grocery stores.
There's days where those guys don't make shit at all. They don't make a penny. They might make 1 or 2 sales, but they're going to keep going back every single day. Where does the Mexican ice cream man go during the wintertime, Dynas? I don't know. You don't know, but I know his ass going to be out there selling ice cream, even if it's raining. Black folks want instant success. We live in a world of instant gratification in our community. So if we don't make $500 on the first day, we're not going to do it no more. That's what we need, consistency. Because whether or not you want to believe it, if you are consistent, At some point, it won't matter if you Muslim, Christian, Hindu, Taoist, Buddhist, or nothing. Everybody get thirsty, and they're gonna go to the person who got the water at that moment. That's the only reason the Arabs beating you out in your own community. They just there every day for 12 hours a day. You want
But
to go to
dang,
the
I
club?
mean, but Pan African Strike Back. People will say, well, Pan Africanism. The white guy in Kensington, right? Because we got a section of Kensington where blacks are actually doing better than the white folks, right? Kensington white folks are doing terrible, right? They're going to say
This is where motherfuckers are getting geeked up and looking like zombies.
yeah. They're going to say Pan African Strike Back. Well, even the white guy is not even on a corner at night, selling whatever you're saying, like the Mexican. So I think sometimes we just can't put on black people because we've been here a long time, man. The Mexican just getting over the border, he's hungry, man. It's a different kind of.
That's the white
No,
guy at the top of the
that's not
corporate ladder,
true.
bro.
That's not true, Omar. My neighbor upstairs, white guy, Irish, he sells chips and salsa that he makes by hand at farmers markets every week. He not on a corner selling it, but he's paying to get into farmers markets to sell that, and he pays his bills and drives a nice car and all that stuff. It's all about consistency, bro. Every day I go outside. He's in his garage chopping up salsa, deep frying chips. He's doing his job. I'm telling you, you can make every excuse you want to in a book. The biggest problem with the Negro is he's not consistent. If he can't drive a Benz doing it, from day one, he ain't gonna stick with it. Period. Every black man I've ever seen who can see, even a dude who sells incense, every black man I've ever seen consistently sell something every day is successful. It's an incense dude out here who will pull out a knot, Dinus, a knot. He making money. But you see that dude on the train, he all over LA, all over Long Beach, every single day. How many of us go do something one day a week and then stop it? I saw a black dude fighting with just this last thing. I saw a black dude down at the Pike fighting with a Mexican dude for taking his quote unquote spot for selling hot dogs. The black dude comes out there on Saturday and Sunday. The Mexican out there every day, 7 days a week. The Mexican dude said, man, I'm paying my house note and my car note selling hot dogs out here. You think the black dude coming out there Monday through Friday? No, he just want to come on the big money days, Saturday and Sunday. You're not going to win doing that.
So let me say this, and I'm gonna push back against that because Nathan McCall in his book Makes Me Want to Holler. If you haven't read it, you should. He talked about how in the Black conscious movement, a lot of brothers would push, economic self-determination, having agency, but they would be selling incense, bean pies, newspapers. And he said, but the reality is, you aren't going to make enough money. Most people aren't going to make enough money to take care of a family, engaging in that type of small level of petty entrepreneurialism. And he says many of them refuse to go to trade school or college and get an actual education that will allow them to have an actual career.
No, you're not going to make enough money on the first day, but I guarantee you.
But the majority of people that engage in that type of petty entrepreneurialism aren't making enough money to provide for a family. I
don't believe that, because when my wife was making soaps by hand in my kitchen, we go to the farmers market Saturday and Sunday, and we was pulling in $1,000-$1,500 a week.
Right. But most people who have businesses, they have single proprietor businesses, meaning they have a business in which they are the sole employee. Like I know I've had my own business before. I remember my daughter's mother, she had her own hair care business, but she made natural hair care products. But it wasn't enough for her to actually pay all her bills on and quit her day job. And she did that for like 5 years. And that's why we know most businesses, period, in America fail. Look at Carol's daughter, the big time, they had a flagship store in Harlem on 125th Street. They've now gone bankrupt. So the reality is, Carol's daughter.
I thought Carol's daughter got bought out by.
Yeah, but they got bought out.
They got bought out after they went bankrupt.
Then they didn't go bankrupt. They got bought out.
They filed bankruptcy. Then they end up being bought out.
Filing bankruptcy don't mean you failed.
But Brandon, isn't that the one where the one of the sisters died? There was two sisters and one died. And the white dude took the money.
Yeah, I'm telling you, filing bankruptcy in a business don't mean you failed. They got cashed out and they filed bankruptcy so they wouldn't have to pay for all that stuff. Right, they filed that money they owe.
You can't pay off your debts.
Well, let's do this.
Or when you don't want to.
Let's go back. Let's pass it. Africulture concepts. Go ahead. Africulture concepts. Go ahead. Unmute yourself.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, sir. OHIO.
Go ahead.
Can you
Go ahead.
hear
We
me?
hear you. Yeah, go ahead. We hear you. We hear you, bro. Go ahead.
All right, if y'all can hear me, I'm gonna go ahead and talk.
Yeah, you got that Obama phone. I told you about calling it on these Obama phones. I told you about that.
Now I'm on a good phone. I don't know why it's breaking up though. I'm on Wi-Fi and everything.
You sound very clear.
Don't worry about that. It's better than calling from the phone that Trump's acolytes are calling from that collect call in prison. So don't even worry about it.
And you sound really clear to me. It's their reception because I hear you loud and clear.
I hear loud and clear too.
All right, so yeah, man. What I was gonna plug in was kind of like towards the name of the video, and kind of like piggybacking off of what Brandon and the other brothers was talking about, just putting it together. To me, I look at it like this. What Brandon said. People they just want to jump into it and jump straight into the good part, the success part. Without the work, and that's kind of, to me, it kind of coincides with why a lot of these people want to culture vulture after all these other cultures because of the greatness. They want to co-sign with the greatness, and they want to have something to do with it, but they don't want to have nothing to do with the sweat, the blood, sweat, and tears that it took, to get that recognition. You know what I'm saying? In anyway, they didn't have nothing to do with none of those cultures anyway. So, with that being said, but another thing is, I live in a black freedmen settlement. You know what I'm saying? Black folks been here for at least 139 years. We got this one brother, he got a little business down the street. He opened up his business from Thursday through Saturday, bro. Like, that's to me, that's horrible. And so it goes back down to the consistency. The Mexicans, they've been out here for like 10, 15 years. They already got a grocery store. They got a business inside the gas station. They got a full complete auto care. And when they first came out here, some of them used to work with my pops, because my dad, he's a contractor, and he contract work out, to Mexicans and stuff like that want to do the work. You know what I'm saying? And now those same Mexicans that used to get business from him, they got their own business, and they serving these residents out here. You know what I'm saying? And some of these people in the food service, they was out here riding bikes. They got the car wash from the blacks, and now they be at the car wash every day selling food. Every day. It's the consistency. Even though I agree with what Lamuma talking about, I do agree. Black folks don't want to work with their hands, because that's a part of the business trade that we used to dominate. It used to be black plumbers, black electricians, black general contractors, all
Very
that
true.
type of shit. Black carpenters, whatever. And now they don't want to do that shit, because they want to jump, hop, and skip the corporate ladder and get with a white man at, even though they don't want to realize that the white man actually did that work too. He might have used, some of them might have used black folks to do it, but some of them did it on their own. They did it on their own. A lot of them did it on their own because they was poor. Rich white folks was the ones that had black folks doing their work. You know what I'm saying? And other white folks. But yeah, that's where all these identity cults come from. It's tied together with this addiction to want to be great, or want to be looked at as great, but they don't want to actually have nothing to do with the negativity that took place with those greatnesses that those white folks, these white anthropologists and these white Egyptologists, that they worship and recognize as greatness. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I want to say.
So I wanted to say this, particularly too. You talked about, there was a time where a lot of black people worked with their hands, and then they decided they wanted to pursue jobs in corporate America. I know Dynas works in corporate. I work in higher ed.
I did.
But what I would say to that, this is almost akin to the debate between Du Bois and Booker T. Washington, right? And the argument I make is that I think a black person should pursue whatever career that they want, right? That we shouldn't be typecast to work in a particular field of any endeavor. We should aspire to work in whatever field or career that we want to work in, right? Because point of example, It's great that we have Black people who are plumbers, electricians, etc. We're talking about the hard, core building things, but it's also great to have a Black doctor, which my daughter has. It's also great to have a Black attorney, which I have, right? A Black accountant, etc., etc. So I would look at, and say that we should advocate Black people seeking to what? Pursue careers in whatever field of endeavor that they want.
Black people already do that, Professor. Let me say this: Black people already do that, Professor Lumumba. But the reality is, once Black people do that, and then they get hit with the real reality of the situation, like say you become a Black lawyer, Dynast, being a lawyer is a lot of work, especially when you start, because it's not no paycheck coming in the door for you every Friday. You have to find clients. Soon as that happens,
your own practice.
Just so listen, soon as the reality hits you, now you're looking back at your community saying, y'all don't support me. Then the community says, well, shit, if you wanted something that was going to be more consistent or more lucrative, you should have went into one of these essential jobs where people need you no matter what, rain, sleet, or snow. That's all we're saying. We're not telling Black people they can't do whatever they want to do.
So I would disagree with the law school, with the lawyer analogy. And the reason why is I know a lot of people who have gone to law school. I have a lot of friends who've gone to law school. And most people that go to law school, they have jobs guaranteed with an actual firm or working for maybe the county or the city before they even graduate. Most people when they actually start their own private practice, it's after having years of experience working in the industry, either as a prosecutor, assistant ADA, something like that.
Right, and you're putting in the work. That's the whole thing. You still got to put in, dude. The shit's damn near abusive how much you got to work.
That they graduate and start their own practice, and that's not how it typically works.
And when those Black people go to work and something doesn't go their way, all of a sudden it's racism. It's racist, this and that. Black people use racism as an excuse for not wanting to do what's necessary to be successful in certain areas. Black people are already doing what they want to do, Lumumba, you know that. But once what they want to do isn't handed to them on a silver platter, they start screaming racism and talking about our people don't support each other and all that stuff. That's the facts.
Let me pass it to Cashinova. Go ahead, Cashinova.
Peace to everybody on the panel. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, you muffled.
Real quick,
you in Chicago. So
real quick, there are situations where Black people experience racism. I experienced a situation of sexism just last week in my class, where I had a student accuse me of looking at them inappropriately because they're not doing well in the course. And I actually I said, well, go tell my supervisor. Right, and my supervisor was like, the student is just mad because they're not getting a good grade. Why? Because they're not actually doing their assignments. So there are times where people are making accusations that are factual.
Hey, Lumumba, I agree with you. I'm in construction. I see it all the day. These white boys, it is racism out there. Brandon, you gotta hold these white folks accountable. Come on now, you know better.
All right, let's pass to Cashinova. Go ahead, Cashinova.
You knew it was racist when you got into it, and I hope the white people keep treating your ass with racism, and you keep making excuses for failing.
All right, go ahead.
That's absolutely ridiculous. Racism is anti-Black racism is.
Hey, let me pass the cash.
Well, get out of that institution, super nigga. You just complaining. They didn't make you. They didn't make you fill out the job application.
I said it's omnipresent, so it doesn't matter where you go.
Yeah.
And second, you got my number, so if you want to talk slick, we can finally get in the ring like you've been ducking me.
You're too scared for that.
Please, I called you. How am I scared? I reached out to you.
And I said, okay, and you start making excuses.
You start talking about
all right, man. And all that. I ain't never ran from nobody in my life.
You did with me.
All right, Lumumba.
I got your number from Dallas. I hit you
up. I'll fly you out.
I hit you up.
Trying to get flew out.
Yeah, take it offline. Take it offline. Cash it over. Go ahead, cash it over.
Okay, yeah, I wanted to comment on the topic of the video. I don't think it's a bad idea or necessarily negative that Black people, claim the science that was used to carve those giant stone heads out in the ancient Olmec kingdom or empire, whatever you want to call it.
Olmec.
Yeah, Olmec. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh god. All right, go ahead, Gosh.
Isn't that what the topic of the video is about?
They didn't
Hey,
build that
Pastor,
shit,
your
bro.
head is
They
skinny as
didn't
hell.
build
You
that
don't
shit.
look like no Olmec ever made. Stop.
They said I look like the great value version of Nipsey Hussle.
Thank you. Black people got so many different.
Those are
Black people
Mexicans.
got so many looks talking about that's us, nigga. All
Okay,
right.
but okay, now hear me out now. Science and our understanding of history is always evolving. Nothing is set in stone. With that being said, they are debunking the Bering Strait and saying that the Americas was colonized tens of thousands of
Who
years
debunked
earlier
it?
than they previously thought. So the Olmec heads, that's science. The temples down in Central and South America, the pyramids, they're perfect. It's not any trial and error pyramids like there are in Egypt. So what that's telling us is the science was already developed. So they had a developed science that probably took thousands of years. And however it came over here, maybe it came over by individuals who crossed the Atlantic Ocean, but it got over here to the Americas. That's why you have perfect step pyramids here. There are no trial and error pyramids over here. And then it got perfect stone heads carved out from rock that weighed over 2 tons. So
Has it ever
don't
occurred to you
don't
that they
tell
might
me
have destroyed
people.
them?
I'm sorry, what was that, sir?
Has it ever occurred to you that they might have destroyed them?
Who is they might have destroyed what exactly?
Those indigenous people that built those pyramids.
That they destroyed the trial and error pyramids?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so why would they do so, and why didn't that happen in Egypt as well?
Why would you just
Because
keep a bunch of
those are two
half-built
different
pyramids
people.
around?
I heard 2 questions. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yeah.
Back to Larry. Hold on, let me be. Go ahead, Larry. Go ahead, Larry. Let me check, Larry.
Hi, Dynast. I need your opinion on this. I have a video I want to show you. It ties in with the title of the show. We built the pyramids, built America, and all that stuff.
Share it so I can put it up.
Cool.
Lily, thank you for the super chat, sweetheart. Thank you, Lily. Thank you so much for the super chat.
And that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying we. My people came from West Africa. I'm talking about black people in general. The science was an African science that built those pyramids. Now they did use indigenous Americans' labor. However, the science that was used to build it was African science. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying we
The
built
only
it.
question I would ask is how can you substantiate that?
Because I can substantiate it because there are no trial and error pyramids over here. Look over in Egypt, you got the step pyramids where they got the mathematics wrong, and until they got it right with the Great
Bro,
Pyramids of Khufu. So
but that's
don't.
not
There ain't no.
a trial and error. That's
That
not a
is a
trial and
trial
error.
and
They
error.
built that.
If I
They
could,
built that.
and if I could, we find
The step pyramids that Imhotep constructed, those are trial and error pyramids. They didn't have the mathematics right.
Well, he
Man,
still
listen.
erected them though.
Most black people can't even build a house or a teepee, dude. But we still talk about pyramids. Like you,
That's now, Brandon. That's now.
that's what matters now. Y'all still talk. Like I get it. I love history as much as the next person, but to sit like people don't realize. Sometimes you got to stop talking about something to provoke people to do something else, right? If you sit up and keep talking to somebody about how they used to be good at jujitsu and how they used to beat everybody at the tournaments, they're just going to sit back and live on their glory days.
I
But
agree.
if you want that person to do something now, you're going to have to say, dude, don't nobody care about that old shit. That's like an old rapper talking about, yo, I did this, I did that. Well, guess what? The little goofy mumble rapper now is holding the mantle. Right now, the best rapper who ever lived is Drake. Why? Because Drake is the person who's hot right now.
Cap. I
Don't
agree. I
know.
agree. However,
What I'm saying,
I
I'm
want
not.
to build on the future.
Hold on. Let me pass it to Larry because Larry's about to show.
Thanks.
Sorry.
Can you see the video I'm about to play?
Press play.
Okay. I need your opinion on this, man. This is crazy.
I found myself in an interesting gathering in Brooklyn this week, one involving lots of chicken swinging. Everyone was swinging them. Older men, younger women, older couples, younger couples expecting a baby. Parents waved them above their children. And of course, you had young guys having a bit of fun. It was a surreal scene, and perhaps I should back up a bit.
Now, I'm going to show you this. Can you see this part? I'm about to click on this.
We see it. Go ahead. Go ahead. We see it.
This confused me, man.
Larry, you got to play it. Press the play button. Larry, are you frozen?
Oh, sorry.
Press the play button.
Sorry, I'll share it again. Sorry, I'm going to show you this. This is the one that I'm going to show you. Where is it? Yeah, this one. Sorry. Right, you can see this now. I'm going to click play. Sorry.
It's done in certain Yoruba traditions, but they laugh at us when we do it. But it still goes on in the Hebrew tradition, and the white Jews, as well as the black Hebrew Israelites, still practice this tradition. Most of you didn't know this. If you go to any synagogue during Yom Kippur, you will see that they will use a chicken, rub it on the head and rub it all over the body to cleanse the body, and then they will kill that chicken and throw it at the crossroads after the service. That's precisely what's done in certain Yoruba traditions, but they laugh at us when we do it. But it still goes on in the Hebrew tradition, and the white Jews, as well as the black Hebrew Israelites, still practice this tradition.
Right.
Yeah. Now I need your advice, your help on this, because I vaguely remember that stuff when I was a kid growing up. Is it just pure coincidence?
No, we still do it. Like when I'm in Oshun, when I'm in Ife, when I'm at the Oshun River, we still do it in Ife. Absolutely.
So what is
in voodoo, same thing.
So what is going on with the Jews? Is it just pure coincidence? There can't be a connection.
I would say they got that from us. It's just the point I'm making is these people who Yoruba, voodoo, the phone, they don't call them. They would never say they were Jews.
Okay, got it.
That's the point.
Can I answer that question, Dynast?
Go ahead.
Okay. If anybody knows the history of religions, it's nothing new that religions incorporate the practices of people that they wish to convert into their religion and make it more palatable for them. If you look at the first century Christian church, they were largely involved in the recruitment of pagan worshipers of certain deities. This is where the cross comes from. This is where the celebration of the unconquered son comes from. This is where the whole concept of Christmas and many other practices that are heralded now or lifted up now by Christianity came from. It came from pagan practices that were incorporated into the church or into the religion to make it more palatable for converts. That is why Jesus suddenly died on a cross when Jesus clearly in the Bible died on a tree. The cross is a derivative of the ancient Babylonian god Tammuz. And even up into the first century, there were Chaldeans and people of the many different nationalities who still worship Tammuz. Why do you think the Christians celebrate Easter? Easter is not a Christian derived phenomenon.
Okay,
Easter,
Brandon, it's okay. It's okay.
So, I know you don't. I know you don't want to. I know because I'm answering it. It's not.
Brandon, it's okay. I'm saying I agree.
I'm telling you that. Okay, I'm telling you that Jewish people, like every other religion, converted people from all over the place, and to make that more palatable, they incorporated some of their practices. Just like they would go to Africans and say, "Did you know that your God has a son and his name is Jesus?" That's just incorporation of things that the people they wanted to recruit believed in. That's it.
That's cool. Dynast,
Islam,
thanks for your opinions on it. I just needed, because it kept on bothering me at the back of my head. But yeah, you cleared it up. That's all I had to do and show. So thanks anyway.
Yeah, and also most Jews don't use the chicken. Like a lot of modern secular Jews, they will use like money around people's head and stuff like that. But yeah, most Jews don't do the chicken thing. But that's just a little nuance, though. Go ahead.
But yeah, the same thing happened in Islam, bro. Islam is a spin-off of Christianity and Judaism, but the Muslims, the original Muslims, they adapted it into pre-Islamic Arabian tradition. They put some of that stuff in there and they made it a part of Islam so that they can unify the Arabian Peninsula before they started to spread the religion.
All right, guys. Links in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation. Link is in the chat room if you want to call in and add to the conversation.
Can we agree that in order to build for the future, we must acknowledge the past correctly? Can we agree on that?
I think we do it too much,
to write
brother.
it off
I
like
think,
it don't mean nothing. Like, oh, we don't need to be dwelling on the past. Like, y'all like to write it off like it doesn't mean
but
anything.
I think we acknowledge the past too much, man. It can be a conversation about anything. We go back 2,000 years ago, man. I think we gotta go forward, man. It's crazy.
We go back to before niggas even existed.
Oh my God, Brandon!
Exactly.
Oh,
I agree with that.
something we do.
That's not true. That's
Yeah.
not true.
Yeah.
You get. It's hard for people to even acknowledge our connection to the animal kingdom. So we don't always jump back because a lot of people like to throw biblical references in there like it's actual, like it's factual. We don't always go back correctly. So I don't agree with what y'all just said.
Hey,
The animal kingdom, that's like prehistoric shit, bro. That's before even civilization.
No,
So yeah, of
animal
course people
kingdom
go.
is now. You're still a part of the animal kingdom, whether you like it or
Yeah, I
not.
know, but in order to see your connection to it, that you would have to be around prehistoric times,
That's
and
not
people
true.
just far
That's not
driven away
true.
from
You can
that.
see your connection to it by what you eat today and what you do today. If you sleep,
Well,
if you
people,
shit, if you drink water, you're an animal, bro. That's
Yeah,
it's simple.
I agree,
just
but people don't agree with
just
that
take
shit.
a while.
It
Just
don't
take a
matter.
wildlife.
People don't agree that
Take
the
a
earth is round either.
just take a wildlife biology class, and you will see how close we are to running around in the wilderness, eating off the ground and stuff. It's not far off because people
We're
still
really
doing
not.
that shit in some places.
Yeah, it is, and it's crazy because they get mistreated. You know, like we like to complain about our mistreatment, but indigenous people, like real indigenous people who still live like hunters and gatherers, they get stepped on. They get treated like they're not even people.
All right, J Speed, go ahead, J Speed.
Hey, how you doing this morning? Y'all
Good. How
brothers
you doing?
All right. I just want to start mine off, say thank you for letting me up on your channel. We built the whole country on lies, and you saying we can't build shit on the truth. I'm sorry, that last word, that sh word, but I think we could chew gum and walk at the same time. The problem is with this don't want to know about the past is that's the problem. Is they don't want to know anything behind them. They want to know everything in front of them. That's why they can't change a tire. That's why they can't take a battery out of a car. They know all about the FUBUs and the ooh-oohs and the bling-blings and all that. They're walking downtown. They're walking in the street looking like a billboard. But then when somebody do try to teach them something, they want to reject anything is behind them. That's why they're not learning anything. And that's why you got more men walking around talking about anime versus learning how to turn a damn 9mm or 10mm screw.
Hold on, bro. OG. What are they talking about? An
Anime, whatever that damn
He
thing
talking
is, a
about
cartoon
anime.
Yeah. You know, I got a southern accent, but I'm in
I
What's
California.
wrong with
I
anime?
agree.
What's wrong with
I agree with
anime?
that.
No,
OG?
I'm not saying what you mean. What's wrong with it? Just like it is animation. That's what
Come
I'm
on,
saying.
He's
You
brother.
gotta
finna
look
Come
he
at.
on,
finna go to
brother.
No,
war
listen what
over
I'm just
anime,
saying.
bro. You finna go to
We
war over
living
Naruto.
in
Man,
we
I
living in
literally thought
no.
I
What I'm
literally
trying to
thought he was
say.
talking about
Hold on,
Tina Turner.
let him finish. Let him finish. Go ahead.
The problem is we're living in reality, and we get all our information from sport figures, TVs, and everything. We got a problem. We want to talk about Will Smith. We want to talk about this. We want to talk about that. But nothing in front of you that is going to impact you to be a better community. And so what it is I don't know what y'all don't understand. History can give people confidence. If someone knows something has been done before, the first time the record has ever been under 10 to run
Preach, OG.
100 miles, I'm going to say 100 yards, once they knew it could be broken, now you got high school guys breaking that record. because the confidence comes into you knowing you have the ability to get yourself out of the situation. But the problem is we want to follow behind someone and we want to do the things they do. Yeah, it works for them. It does work for them. And I'm not going to say it's not working for them. But let me tell you something. Chinese ain't worried about no Chinese. I'm going to say Asian people ain't worried about no damn credit score. I see right here in California where they buys up whole blocks. Nobody's shopping in their shop. But you know what they do? They buy the block up. Sooner or later, they turn that block into something they want to turn it in. Our problem is the disunity, not the unity. We sitting around here fighting about what's working, what's not working. Everything we could talk about on this panel right now, I can show you historically not that long ago, not no way back in Africa, where them things have already done and it didn't work for us. Until we change our mindset, ain't nothing gonna work for us because we got all the information right in front of us.
People keep talking about, oh, we got to analyze the past so we could find out what the enemy did to us. Listen, I have an analogy that I used on this show before, and y'all might not have heard it. If you wake up and you just wake up and you are in a hole, and let's say the hole is about 50 feet deep, but there's a ladder that you could use to climb out of the hole. How long are you gonna sit there wondering how you got down in the damn hole before you say, damn, let me get on this ladder and climb myself out of this damn situation? Black people always trying to ponder some stuff that don't got nothing to do with today. You're in a hole. Get out the hole.
Can I ask you something? Can I ask you something?
Sure.
Okay. I work with
hold on one second.
Somebody got to
hold on 1 second.
Mars or something.
Experience like Gary, you can't. I told y'all, stop calling in on these Obama phones. Okay, the phones that you get for free at Kroger and at Rouse.
It sound like that man called in on a Rolls toy.
Listen.
No, he needs to get closer to his neighbor Wi-Fi. But anyway, what we got here? What we got here? I understand that, brother. But I work with people who historically, answer that, Francine, historically been abused in one way or another. Now if you can use something under the microscope and it produce the same thing on every end of your philosophy of why we get stuck in that hole, let me tell you something. You don't turn a woman or a man loose who's been abused for 20-something years and then all of a sudden he becomes a person. It takes time. It takes motivation. It takes a lot of therapy. It takes a lot of everything. Our condition that we've been going through and the things we've been going through, it's been passed down from generation to generation. Y'all keep acting as if these effects of us started way back in the 1600 and 1500. No, all these effects of us been passed along. I pass it along from the boomers and the next generation pass it along. Everything we do in this country, 99% of everything we do in this country come from our oppressors today, not yesterday, today. You speak the language you speak, my brother, is because you are here. You are a kidnapped human being. You are here and you've been putting it into this incubator and you're trying to figure it out.
And what does that have to do with flipping a hamburger at McDonald's? Not a damn thing.
As
soon as you
if you don't speak
no,
Spanish.
let me say this. Soon as you learn how to listen,
it has a lot to do with
listen. Soon as you learn how to flip that burger, you open up a whole window of opportunity. Sitting up when you go to work and you work for the white man, how much time do you think you spend wondering about slavery? You go in there to get the job done, and on Friday you get a paycheck and you use that paycheck to go buy stuff. Black people want everybody to believe that we have to go from Genesis to Revelation on our history to become successful, and that is a lie. You don't have to waste 2 seconds.
A damn thing
I said black people. I didn't say you.
What I'm saying in general, you're not listening to nothing I'm saying. I say we can do both. We're the only peoples on this planet who don't understand the importance of history.
Hey,
That's
Asians
not
do,
true. That's
wait,
not
J
true.
J Speed.
listen what
Hold
I'm
on,
saying.
hold on. Let me ask you a question, J Speed. J Speed. Let me ask you a question. You
Yes, sir.
could walk and chew gum at the same time, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now if you was going into a boxing match or a wrestling match, would you go in there with chewing gum with gum in your mouth?
I go on that knowing the history of who I'm fighting.
But would you go in there with gum in your mouth?
But we're
No,
not talking. You know
because if
what
you
I'm
did,
using that as. You
listen
know
to what
what
I'm
I'm
telling.
using as. So
If
don't
you
just
listen to what I'm telling you. You're not walking. We in a full-fledged fight competition. You try to go to in a competition with gum in your mouth, you're gonna choke to death. Dynasty, you gonna take gum into a football game?
bro.
We don't have time to
Come
chew the
on,
fat. Just
bro.
put in the work.
Come on,
Just put the work in.
come on. You know exactly what I
You
mean.
can learn your history on your personal time.
Okay, you brought up a good example. I boxed for 21 years. So you brought up a good example. I studied old fighters. I studied my opponent. I didn't just go in the ring, do a cartwheel, to eat some goddamn watermelon and bark at the moon. I studied it. So
If
when
you
I
let
got
me
in the
say something,
ring, I understand my opponent. I understand the science of boxing and everything else. And this is what I'm trying to tell
but
you.
you studied the history of something that has something to do with your livelihood at that time.
Not only
We talk about black folks that's trying to go way back to prehistoric time, my brother. That ain't got nothing to do with what we're
You
talking
didn't
about.
we
study.
just got our first anti-lynching law this
You
year.
You
didn't
didn't
did
study.
you
Let me ask
study
you a
where boxing
question.
came
Either
from?
one of y'all know we just got our first
Nobody gives a damn
lynching
about
law this
lynching.
year.
No one cares about
Bro,
lynching.
I know you
yeah,
don't,
you
but the
way off.
people who live under that threat
I
do.
don't care.
Bro, I
Is
live
that,
in the
you know
South
what?
in
You know
Texas,
what?
bro.
Let me
You
tell you
tripping.
something. Wait.
No,
I said this
you
on my
tripping.
show.
Go to Mississippi and see how
Listen,
much they tripping.
I wish they would start
Go in
lynching niggas.
Alabama and
Right.
see how much they
Wait.
tripping.
Listen to this. I wish they would start back lynching niggas because maybe that's what it's gonna take. Maybe
Maybe we
black
need to just
people.
go ahead and
Come
finish
Maybe.
the word.
No, let me
on,
say
Brandon.
it.
Come on,
And
man.
that's straight out hate speech.
Let me
Come on,
say this.
Brandon.
Hold on, Brad. Hold on, Brad.
Now,
Listen,
you don't went a little too
no,
far on that side of the
OG.
street.
Hold on, OG. The thoughts and views of Pan Africanism Strikes Back is not the thoughts. The thoughts and views of the guests are not necessarily the thoughts and views of In Search of a Who.
No,
All right, go ahead, Brad.
Dinus, listen. When black people walked down the street and saw one of them hanging from a tree with a burnt body, that taught Negroes a daily reminder. You can't let up. You got to keep working hard and you got to keep sticking together. If they went back to lynching niggas in trees, I guarantee you black on black violence would go down by 95% the next day. Sometimes I think that you need some adversity. You need some overt hatred against you for you to realize the importance of sticking together because these niggas is too soft. I got an older black male talking about we got our first anti-lynching. Damn anti-lynching. Where's the economic improvement package? That's what we need.
But Brandon, I ain't gonna lie, man. That was borderline
Let's forget
cooning what
about
you
the
were
Martin
doing
Luther
right
King
there.
speech right
That was a
about
little
now.
bit
Let's get
cooning,
into
right?
Malcolm
Another
because you
thing
don't
too,
know
Brandon.
a thing about
Hold
me,
on.
bro.
One
You
mic.
don't know what I do, and
I
what I
know it. A lot of
represent.
black men that had the same type of view
Hey,
Brandon
hold on,
got, bro.
Brandon. I ain't gonna lie, man. That was borderline cooning what you just did, Brandon. But I will say this, Brandon. I understand you got some of them far right talking points, but cut back on that kind of talk, man. That's kind of dangerous, bro. But I'm just saying.
Why is it
Can I
dangerous? Stop, man. You sound soft.
That's not dangerous, bro. You tripping.
Oh, you talking
can I
about lynching
respond?
people again? It's not dangerous, bro.
Bro,
Yeah,
what black
that's
man up
cooning,
here
man.
got
That's
the
borderline
power to
cooning,
lynch
man.
another
I
Negro? Like,
completely understand what Brandon said. I don't think
what is
it's
he talking
anything
about?
wrong with what he said.
I just wanted to respond to J Speed OG for a moment. So you said that earlier. You said that don't nobody care about credit scores. That's false. It's not true.
No, I
If no
didn't
one,
say. I said. Wait a minute. See, y'all listen to a person,
You
then you
said
make
Asians
everything
don't care about
black
credit
and
scores.
white.
Let's get back to the topic.
I said, when it comes
Stay
to
on
the
topic. Let
political
G-Man.
arena or the finances of the United States, they have their own way of going about doing their own business. That was my story.
okay, but
Okay, go ahead, G-Man.
we don't have our own way of going about business. So that's a moot point. We have the U.S. system of a credit score. We live in the United States. We have credit scores. We don't live in China. So here's the thing: we need higher credit scores in order to get the things that we want to get in this country. We only 20% of us have a credit score over 700. Over 700. That's a problem.
20% of 40 million is how much?
20% as opposed to 50% for white Americans.
I just asked you, 20% of 4 million is what?
20% of 40 million.
40 million is what?
20% of 40 million. Well, that's like what 7 to 8 million people?
20%.
7 or 8 million people
That's
have
a
a
small group
credit
of
score
people.
over 700.
That's a good group. That's a good group to
All right,
start. It's a good starting
speaking.
point. It's a good starting point.
Well, it's a low starting point because guess what? White Americans, it's over 50%.
How many
So
millionaires
that's a
do we
very
have
low
in this
starting
country
point.
compared to white people? Don't you look up that stat?
Ain't it
What
like
is that now?
1%?
No. Blacks make up 8% of the total millionaires in America. I think they're outside of white people, they're the next largest group
No, that's
of
not true.
millionaires.
That's
That
not
is
true.
true. That is true. Look it up.
That's
Look
not
at the
true.
stats.
Where,
Look at the
look it up
stats.
where? Look it up where?
I
Where is
can
it?
put
Where's
it in
the
the chat.
Put it
Stat
in the stat.
teacher got it. Yeah.
Right. And
Okay.
so what I'm
Because
saying is,
the data that I was looking at, Black Americans hold less than 1% of the wealth. What are you talking about?
No, that's not the
you must
question.
have been
The
listening to
question was
Carl
the
answers.
percentage of
Well,
millionaires.
the number
That
of
was the question.
millionaires, the number
Yes,
of
it
what
wasn't the
kind of
wealth.
millionaires and what? Millionaires and having a house?
In the country
Is
and
it house?
billionaires. Let's go to the next stage. Let's go to the next station, billionaires. And what I'm trying to say, bro, is you said it don't matter. And no, I wasn't talking about China. What I was talking about is Chinatown in America. What I was talking about, little Asian. And let me finish. Can I finish?
Okay,
so
go ahead.
I'm saying these people was able to build their capital without even going around the American system because they do things in units. And the problem with us, we keep wanting to be this superhuman being where we go on and as one individual and become successful. And the group is still in the same square. If we don't start to understand the importance of unit, you don't understand. That's why these Spanish people say, I'm in California. So I seen how the Spanish people did it. It had nothing to do with no damn credit score. Okay? So what I'm saying is we keep trying to follow behind a system that is designed to keep you from behind versus understanding that system and finding the loopholes in it and then build from that.
Understanding the system and finding the loopholes in it means paying your bills. That's the system. Paying your bills, paying your credit card.
So you saying black people don't pay their bills? Come on, G. Come on,
sir. Look, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, why is it that we only have 20% of us? Only 20% have a credit score over 700. Is it that hard to pay what needs to be paid in order to get your credit score over a 700? I'm asking you that. Is that hard?
Because that's how you build your credit, right? By paying your bills.
That's how you build your credit.
Listen, I mean, if bootstrapping is the way, okay, let's bootstrap. Then I'm with it. Let's go. Because there's millions of black people that's doing that already. You know what I mean? So I don't see where we're like moving the needle in the conversation. I don't see that. Lord.
The problem is there's still individuals and the groups that are doing so much better use things in units. We haven't understand that concept. It's all about me, I. Until we understand that concept, then all this stuff you talking about, we've been having millionaires way back. What was it? Adam Walker and a bunch of others was millionaires back in the days. That don't mean anything because most of these people who do get their credit scores all corrected and stuff, and we look at it from from athletes to stars to everything else, they don't get to die with that money, bro. That money goes back to that community. Understanding the loopholes in this system that we in will be more beneficial for us to still be trailing behind something that we're trying to build up is made to really be against.
JSP, what are the loopholes? Give us a loophole. What are the loopholes? What are the secret magical tricks that we need to know in order to get ahead? Go ahead.
Give you one. Hold on. Let me give you one. Right. It depends what what vagina you come out of, right? If you come out of a white vagina in America, right, your chances of acquiring wealth has shot up tremendously, right? So I think what you're doing, G, you're not putting the focus on the system, and I think that's what the OG is trying to say, right? We've done that already. We didn't create millionaires. You got institutions in America, black institutions that's been around longer than some nation states, right? So all that you're saying, we've done already, right? What else could be added to this to take us over the top? Because we pay our bills, and what else you want us to do?
Let's see, guys. Links.
Obviously,
Hold on. Links in the chat room. Link is in the chat room. If you want to call in after the conversation, call in. Experience Liberia. You have too much background noise. I don't know what's going on with your phone. Experience Liberia. That's why I pulled you off. But link is in the chat room. All right, go ahead.
Let me give you just an example. I had five members from my family to come out to the West Coast to discuss the family reunion. My great aunt had 26. My mother had 18. We started from the top, what we call the first 10. We have over 600 members spread it out to the southeast of America. We do have some people in the north and maybe one or two in the Vegas, and me being in California, one of the only one in California. I told them from having a celebration of a family reunion this year, won't we give each chapter a incentive to buy things in bulk, where it could be distributed out from each chapter when they buy things in bulks. It would have saved them a hell of a lot more money because they'd be buying wholesale versus resale. Then we can start our own savings branch in each chapter, where we will have fees that we pay into that chapter. Each chapter would do it their own way, make their own bylaws, but we will have a national laws. We got over 800 members in my family. We just been sitting around celebrating every 2 years our family reunion just to get to know each other, but not instill in that where we can build with each other. So that's one of the loopholes we can do just in my family. I just had that meeting over the last 4 days within my family, where we start to look at the economics. We start to look at how money, because most of us don't understand how money, what is the value of money, how it even work, how even the bank work, the credit union work. So I do understand a lot of what you are saying, my brother. I'm not against it, but I'm just saying, when people don't know something, they only have half a glass of water, that's the only thing they can offer to you. For us who do have the skills and do have the understanding how this work, that work, how this a Roth or working for your company, how you can increase your retirement and all that. A lot of us don't know that. We depend on our companies to do that. But the ones who do know that, yes, we can educate a lot better. But we got to start from somewhere. You got to take people from where they are and build from that. For me to talk about me talk about old ways, and you talking about not talking about old ways, or you complaining about where we at, and I'm complaining about where we were, it's the same toilet, just it's the same shit, just different toilet. Our approach has to be different. Change your mind, your outcome would change. Your results will always tell you the truth.
Here's the thing. All this information is freely available. All the stuff about the Black past, all that stuff freely available on the internet to anyone who wants to know. It's not a necessity to know. I mean, it's not a necessity in the same way as knowing how to increase your credit. All right. I mean, like the way you're making it seem as if once we understand this knowledge, then all of a sudden we'll start having confidence and self-esteem. Look, this knowledge is everywhere. It's everywhere on the internet. So
yeah, but You're correct, brother.
But it's not.
Knowledge
But
is
it's not
everywhere.
really
But
It's
how
not really
often do
helping.
we a reverse mortgage comes along, and people never even understand the concept? A lot of people lost their homes on this kind of stuff, lost the value of their homes and this kind of stuff. Yes, there is a lot of information out there, but there's a lot of mixed information, and that's why I say there has to be a point of leadership too. You got to believe in, and you got to believe in the information that you are getting, because there's so much out there, and that's where the education comes in.
Can I come in real quick, Dynast?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, thank you for having me on the show. First and foremost, welcome to everyone that's on the show. I heard a lot of views. I must say that the older gentleman that's talking, I can agree with what you're saying totally. And let me say this: that would what's his name? Who made the statement about wishing we could that white people can start back hanging? Brandon. See, for someone that doesn't truly know about his past and about that, will make a statement like that, because only we in our community, that people know all the stuff that happened to us, and yet and still there's no empathy, there's no sympathy, but yet and still we can go through and open up gates for Ukraine, try to find money for all these other people, because they've been taught to be insensitive to our plight. And it goes back to, like the brother was saying, coming together and trying to work together to build. This has been the problem. Everybody else can hold on to their history. They'll tell the history of what's going on. And they will make you even learn their history. Tell his story that he stole from us anyway. So when you say, we can't be looking at history, the white man that converted it and made you learn his history, and it was a lie. It was a lie. So we can't say that. We have to put it all in a glass, and you got to know how much to use to take from it. We talk about the past. A lot of things that was passed down that we still carry to this day came from our people, mother's mother, to help you. Now, some of it you don't use everything because you already know it's a new day, but yet and still it's still wisdom in what they're saying. If they don't tell you, then it'll be a fault on their part. It's all about you chew the meat and spit out the bone, right? So when you look at what's happening right now, it's because we do not stick together. We do not stick together. We find the minute things and want to tear each other down on, and not knowing that it is based as a group. When you look at economics, group economics, they are working because it came together. We know it works because when you look at when we was segregated, we were still doing well. The only thing is now they took down the door. And now we feel that now we have to get a part and be included in what they're doing. You don't. You don't. And that's the problem that we have. We feel that we got to be surrounded by them. And the only thing, let me say this, we don't have to be around them. Because if we're doing well, they're going to come in and attach themselves to us. If you think I'm lying, look at the singers, look at the athletes, and you look at what they did. Gave them bogus contract and stole the money from them. But how they was able to do it? They had to come and latch on to our talents. That's the reason why they didn't give us the so-called 40 acres and a mule, because they knew if they do, we was going to outdo anybody that was there because we did the work. What happened, right? The black codes. So now, okay, we're going to put you in jail. You ain't got no job. We're not going to hire you, but we're going to get free labor. We got to pay attention to everything that's going on, and it's getting worse now. And they're emasculating the black male even further. So it takes that, what the brother was saying, that you have to put it all together, and you got to bring scholars in like Dynast, Brother Lumumba, and everybody to put in. And we can't say, oh, let me do it. No, you got to add different ingredients in to make what you want, man, to build it how you want to build it. And also to Dr. Lumumba, when he said about Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, he said there was no scholarly work, or he said there were no references in it. I have the book. I beg to differ. I'm looking at pages of what Dr. Ivan been quoted that's in here. So we have to be careful on how it depends on how you look at it, right? because this is what they have done to our black scholars for so long. They dismissed them, they discounted it. And when you go back, you look, you know, okay, how can you disprove what happened in Egypt? Like I said before, that's the only ology that you know, the study of a landmass, Egyptology. You ain't got no Russianology. You ain't got no South American ology. They
But you
take
got
credit.
Mesoamerican studies though, bro.
Mesoamerican studies, that's studies, right?
It's the same things. The study of ancient Mesoamerica architecture, Mesoamerica genetics,
Oh,
all that. It's the same thing.
Same thing. It's
okay,
the
but
same exact thing.
okay,
Same
but
exact thing.
what do they glorify more? They still over there trying to. Listen,
Mesoamerican scholars are the ones that debunk Ivan Van Sertima, my brother.
and when you go back, they're still over there whitewashing walls and tearing down what happened in Egypt. Just like they tearing down, hold on, hear me out. Just like they tearing down what Dr. Ivan Van Sertima said, when we already know that we was already here, and it's a known fact that Africans was already here in the North Americas before they even touched down. That's not. I don't even know why we argue that. We already know they came 4,000. We already know that
Perhaps
the
it
white
wasn't a
man came
teardown.
4,000 years later after us.
But Native Americans aren't white people, my brother. They are considered the Mongoloid race. They're not white people, and those are the people that supposedly tearing down these people. They have their study, they know their culture, and they have the science to back up these claims. A lot of these people that Ivan Van Sertima tried to claim that was supposedly Negroid, they were mistaken. Those white scientists were mistaken, and these were Paleo-American people that had hunter-gatherer skulls or skull shapes that was similar to Negroids, but these people were more genetically connected to modern Native Americans than they are us. So stop.
When you get done, right? When you get done, I'm finna kill all of that, right? Because the biology, basic biology, you can get black, you can get white from black, but you can't get black from white. So when you look at when the origin started,
Oh, bro,
and
that's
who
not
was
basic
here?
biology. Stop.
Yes, it is.
That's
Yes,
not
it is,
basic
bro.
biology.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because I learned
That's
that
not.
in the
That's
ninth
not talking
grade.
biology.
I learned that in the ninth grade.
That's
Okay.
Negro myth.
Okay. When you say that, right? When you say that, if you saying that the origin came from Africa and spread out, where do you think the rest of the people came from? When you look at the sun, the cousins that's in South America with the Asian features, and they say he was the oldest person on earth, and that man migrated and went to China, and that's where the China came from. You trying to tell me that basic biology, what I'm talking about, is not true?
That's archaeology as well. So
Okay, you talking
got
about?
two
I'm talking
branches of
about.
science that's
I
backing
ain't
what you're
talking about no
saying, my brother.
archaeology. I ain't talking about no archaeology, bro.
You talking
I ain't saying nothing
about
about no archaeology. I
you
ain't saying
talking
nothing about no
about
archaeology.
okay, but you talking about the out of Africa setup. Okay, I agree with that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the same exact race of people that we are. That's totally inaccurate, and it's an amalgamation of things that can be proven in order to prove something that's not real.
Well, it
It
just
just
It's
doesn't
depends on
make
what
sense.
you
easy. Wait a minute,
define
wait a
as
minute, wait a minute.
race.
It's easy to combat a person's theory when he's dead. None of the scholars could do it while he was alive. When he went in front of all the scholars when he was alive. So let me just put it this way. All right. We can argue about this till we come green into the face. All right. But the oldest person on this planet, they still don't find, and they've been trying to find somebody older than her or him for the longest, and they haven't. So the
What's the
origin
oldest
of
person in the world? What's the oldest skeleton that they didn't found? Can you give us
Lucy
one?
was the oldest one,
And
1.2
how old is she?
1.2 million years old.
So Australopithecus africanus is people now, right?
So no, what I'm trying to say is when you have a source that everything comes from that source, we can set up and say there's different levels of this and that and that and this. We can do that forever if we wanted to. They act as if when we was in the continent that we didn't do no traveling. And that has something to do with this religion thing, to keep us our mind in this square. when we start to understand that we've always been traveling. We have never been the people who thought that earth was flat. And that was not too long ago. So what I'm saying, and some of us Negroes even think that way today. So what I'm telling you, so we don't have to even argue about who was there, who was not there. All right. We have enough history that it would take everybody on the planet a lifetime to understand it. But where we at now? What should we be doing now? What I am saying is, when we find these loopholes, because what we don't believe as Black people, that we are in a system. And see, when I talk about this the same way Dr. Francis did. And I talk about this the way Nuala Fuller do. If you don't understand the system of white supremacy, everything else is going to confuse you. So when you understand a system is no different from a football system, from an institution system, everything has a system. But when it comes down to the system of white supremacy, everybody wants to make it like it don't exist. Why in the hell do you think most all our decisions come from the White House? It ain't just white because they didn't have no other color. It has a system that they have proven is better than any religion on this earth. And it's been working for thousands of years. The hell, they tried it out on each other before they ever tried it out on people of color. So what make you think that it's not working today?
Thousands of years, really?
So let me just say something. Greetings to everyone on the panel.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
for having me. This thing, Dynast. The thing is, what the Europeans did that most people didn't do before their time, you can call that a form of evolution, was to separate science and state from religion, and I think it did a lot of good for science from that point of view, and the state itself separated from religion, and which is one of the things that is holding Islam back today, because before Islam was more separated from the science was more separated from Islam than it is today. They tend to merge everything together. But that said, like in Nigeria now, the other day we found this tribe that somebody did a research on, found that the language he spoke was similar to that spoken by the Chinese. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. And the meanings remain the same, which is crazy. And some of their features look like Chinese. And when you see that kind of stuff, you begin to understand why some of the scientists said that Africa is where most of all these people came from. And guess what the name of that tribe is called? The Shang tribe. Shang tribe in northern Nigeria. So Nigeria, if people knew what Nigeria was like, many African countries the same thing too. Even yesterday, some of the information I found about Nigeria, even I as a Nigerian couldn't believe it. Like 20% of the Nigerian population, which is quite large, are minorities, tiny minorities that don't even make up to 1%. There are different other minorities all over the country, and these people, they are just as significant as any other group. And to find one group in Nigeria there that has language so similar to the Chinese language, like more than 100 words remain the same. The way they speak like Chinese. I couldn't believe. I never thought an African spoke, because I always thought the Chinese language was so weird. You can't even try to speak it. But guess what? There are people in Nigeria that speak like that. So you can see the physical manifestation of the age of Africa right there. And if people knew that, if our people start understanding that, when people say we are the source of most of all these things, there's a reason why they are saying it. Why would they want to give us the credit for that? They did it. They looked at archaeology. They couldn't run away from it. They looked at the bloodlines. They couldn't run away from it. They looked at genetics. It's still telling them the same thing. And if you look at the history of the world, even when did the white man even walk the earth? Barely 6,000 years ago. That's as light-skinned people. Barely. It's not that long. People think white people have been around forever. They've not been around forever. Most people that used to move around the world, they were dark-skinned. It's more recently they started turning light-skinned, and they started selecting for the white feature, which was around 4 to 3,000 years ago. And coincidentally, that was the first time Egypt fell to a African nation as an empire. Egypt fell to the Hyksos from outside this in Africa around 3,200 or 400 years ago. So if we don't necessarily understand our history fully, and when people talk about our people going to America and other parts of the world, so what if they've been there? I think the key issue for me is that the people in America today, are they the ones that traveled thousands of years ago? That is where the confusion is coming from. Some people want to claim that most of Black Americans are from those people. No, the people that are in America right now were taken from Africa. There are family. I know people in Nigeria that lost family members from their grandfather's grandfather, lost family members. I know people that help sell slaves. So this is not make believe at all. This is something that happened, and Africa was colonized for it on top of it. So
look, to Niger, there's a book on Columbus, right? Columbus said that when he was coming to the Americas, he had African navigators to help him because they had been coming there. You understand?
I need to see the source of that. Like, what's the source?
Don't worry, I can give you the source.
He was the Moor. He was. I mean,
what's the source, bro? No. Africans had been coming to the Americas, right? He also said that when he got to the island of Hispaniola, he saw some Mali tribes there. He said that the houses there were similar to the ones.
What's the source? What's the source, bro?
What's the source?
Wait,
see, it doesn't even matter. Even if they came, they didn't have enough presence to leave
It's in
genetic
the memoirs
footprint.
that he wrote.
That is the problem. They didn't have enough presence to leave genetic footprint.
There was a slave trade. That's a fact. But there were also black people that were in the Americas too, that came from Africa.
But not significant
I don't think they
numbers.
necessarily came directly.
They were significant, especially along the coast.
If they were significant,
Especially from Mali.
if they were significant, the next door tribes, the wars that they fought, the history would be there. It's not present. I don't understand how people can forget their
Look, I have seen the books. It's not like I've not seen the books.
When you keep saying you've seen the books, you have to understand some things defy logic. Hold on, let me ask you this, because I don't know why people say this all the time. How can you expect somebody that has been on a land, they've been present, then they forgot that they were there for hundreds of years, then later on, suddenly the last century, in short, as a matter of fact, this stuff started happening in the last 3 or 4 years. They start saying, oh yeah, we are FBA, we've been here for forever. And how can you forget for a long time? Do you know how long the Jews have been in Europe? They didn't forget for 1 second. How can you, if you are in here, even when white people were enslaving people, you will know you are from there. You will know where your people were buried thousands of years ago. How can we just start making stuff up like this? Even if they came,
bro, I'm not making. Look. At first, I was like you. I'm Nigerian, right? I don't want to believe like there were Africans there, but people started showing me the sources, started showing me the books, and I was like, wow, we have been deceived.
The books,
because
books means nothing. There is no evidence backing it.
No. I mean contemporary sources. I'm not talking about like people who are writing during those times.
People saw there are so many sources. What is the evidence? Evidence is not sources. Is not evidence.
There are plenty of evidence.
There are artifacts. There are also artifacts.
Where are they? We have not seen them.
All of the above. All of the above is there.
But we've not seen them. That's the problem. It's not there.
Yeah, no, you have not. You have not seen them. It's not like they don't exist.
See, that kind of evidence, the whole world will see it.
Home team history does not support this narrative. He doesn't.
Could I add some pieces of evidence? It's not from the time period what this brother is particularly talking about, but the first people to colonize the Americas, or the first people to inhabit the Americas, whatever you want to call it, that actually happened in South America. They have cave art down there over like 20,000 years old. It's been carbon dated to about 20,000 years old. And that's 5,000 to 6,000 years older than the Bering Strait theory. So, and if you look at this cave art, it looks just like Aboriginal cave art from Australia. So
where did they come from? Where did they come from? The ones that got to South America.
They came from Australia. How do you think the people?
They came from Austronesia, right? They came from Austronesia and Polynesia, right?
Yes, those are still black
All right,
people.
so those people are related to Asian people, though. They might
I
look
never said that they weren't,
morphologically.
brother.
They
But
look,
those
look,
are
bro.
black
They
people.
look, bro. They look
I never said they
morphologically.
weren't related to
Look,
Asians.
they look
Can we get something
morphologically
straight?
Negroid,
Can we get
bro.
something
They
straight?
They look
After.
morphologically Negroid, but their
Okay,
genetics are Asians. They are
Let's get
Asians, bro.
something straight.
Yeah, concept is actually
Everybody,
correct on that.
all people on the planet is related, including white folks. We related to white
Yes,
people.
I agree with
So let's
that.
get
I
that
agree
They
with
straight.
are
that.
related
But
to
those
us,
people
not the
are
other way
not us.
around.
Those
I
people
never
are not
said that
us.
they weren't Asian. I never said that.
See,
However,
Castor,
They not us neither. They not us neither.
Castor, get it right. They are related to us, not the other way around. We are here first. They are the ones that went and they relate to us and not the other way around.
I don't
See,
agree with that shit neither. I don't agree with none of
Look,
that.
see, there were two theories that were struggling for acceptance: diffusionist theory and isolationist. The diffusionist says that all cultures had contact with each other in ancient time. The isolationists, which are the racists, the whites, they were like, that never happened. There's enough evidence and sources to show that Chinese have been coming to the Americas, Africans have been coming to the Americas, Africans had colonies in the Americas, right? The
oh my
Egyptians and
God,
the
man.
Cushites, they have been going to
I'm
India.
not saying all of that, bro.
You
I'm
cannot stop.
really
You are
not
just
saying
saying.
all of that.
You just saying stuff. You see, I really like evidence when people say
Please don't
stuff.
get what I'm saying mixed
Give us
up
what
with
they
what
left
he's
behind.
saying.
Give us the bloodline they left behind, or a monument they left behind. No, or a writing. We need evidence to back anything because our community, what we tend to do is just jump into every single narrative out there.
Is rock art? Is that evidence?
Can I
I'm
say
going to read from a
something, brother?
source that is
Is rock
quoting
art
talking
evidence?
about
No, we
the
saw the rock
Columbus
art of
navigators.
the rock. We
Okay,
saw
I
the
guess
rock
my
art
mic
of
is
for the
not.
Chinese, but not for Africans. We have not seen one for Africans in the Americas.
Okay,
So
is rock
You
art
went to
evidence or
Africa
not?
the original race too at one point.
Don't like lump everybody together, right? Okay, now in the Mayan civilization, right? When you look at the Mayan doorway, it's the same style with the Egyptian. The Mayan god of the dead, their god is a black dog. Same with Anubis. They also have their version of Beth. They have their version of Sekhmet. Then the people who they said the Mayans taught them civilization, right? They call them Naga. There is Naga Kush in Sudan. Also in India, the same people who taught them civilization are called Naga too,
Yeah, it's
right?
a cushion
Naga
Indian.
means holy
it's
or place in
Africans. I
Kush.
just told you that there are Africans. See, I'm not saying Africans didn't come to this in America. They did, but the question is, did they leave enough evidence and footprint to amount to a population in America? That is the
Yes, that's what
problem.
I'm saying. Yes,
They did
yes,
it. If
there
they
was.
did, you will see
They
them.
did.
Jesus Christ! How can you believe that kind of stuff? You
Okay,
literally you
y'all
believe
gonna
What
give
do
me
you
anything.
mean?
You
this
How
do that
can
kind
I
of
believe
stuff.
that kind of
I
But
stuff?
there is
did
no
cut my mic
physical
off a little bit.
evidence.
There
Uh,
is. That's what I'm telling you.
can
Look,
I say
Well, he
something,
just
brother?
gave you some
Okay, share the
evidence
link. Share
tonight.
the
If
link
you
in the
want to
private chat.
accept it or not,
Share the
that's
link
on
in the
you.
private chat, please.
Can
If there
can
is
I?
a link, if there's evidence, share the
I
link.
shared the
Well,
link.
hold on,
One
go
there's
ahead, Jay. Go
source.
ahead, Jay. Go ahead, Jay.
I shared one of the younger brothers. He's young, like see, I'm 65 years old, but this brother is real young. He's down there I think he's in his late 20s, early 30s. He has one of the greatest channels on historic. I put it in the back, and yeah,
Home
I've
team
been
history.
wait a minute. I've been in this space for ever since 2019, and I don't had my ass kicked all around this space. But believe it or not, I built a confidence of people coming to a level of respect, even if they disagree with me. But what I say to all of that, if there were people here, I just want to know what them Negroes was doing while they was enslaving the people who did come from here on the ship. Would they just call them the entertainment Negroes and they wasn't enslaved? See, this is where it get real goofy to me.
They didn't exist.
Well, this is where I'm just saying, this is where it get real goofy for me, because even if we were here, just say it was a bunch of Negroes here when they decided to do what they do and have us to till the soil and build the greatest nation on this planet now. What did they do with the Negroes who's already here? Did they enslave them, or did they make them
yes,
overseers?
they
I just want to know.
so wait. So when the Spanish came, right? They fought wars with them. Then they enslaved a lot of them. They
Oh my
Hey, bro,
God,
you,
they fought
you
wars
got
with them.
your phone is.
Bro, the
Your phone
Spaniards
is.
had black conquistadors with them. They had blacks from Africa that came with them and helped capture Native Americans and go to war with them, bro. Those were some of the earliest Africans that got here with the Spaniards and the Portuguese and whatnot. That's what you conflating with this other myth that it's not real, bro. Africans were not here prior to Columbus. It
They
is
don't.
what it is, bro.
They never had any need to come here. If you are in Africa, you have
Okay,
abundance.
so the
Why would you
story
have any need to travel that far anyway?
so the
Most of
story
our
of
people, they just
Abu
come for
Bakr
exploration.
II just means nothing.
The story of Abu Bakr II is an Islamic myth that Mansa Musa told the Arab Muslims in Egypt. It's made up, bro.
Okay, somebody
Dynast,
got
can
a
I
lot
chime
of
in real
background.
quick? I got something I like to say, right? And this is when you say that in America, Africa was not here, right? So when you go back to Egypt, the hieroglyphs that's in Egypt is the hieroglyphs that they have in the Grand Canyon. So how did that
Thank you.
happen?
Thank you.
Oh
How
my
did
Oh
That's
God.
my!
another
There is no
myth,
evidence.
bro.
When you
Dynast,
I
bruh,
never
Dynast,
knew there
you
were
can't find
hieroglyphs.
evidence from there.
yeah, yeah, exactly. How did that happen?
Send the
You got
link.
background
It
noise,
doesn't
bro.
exist.
Canyon. Come on,
Not
Hey,
only
bro,
that, there
stop it. Ain't no hieroglyphs in the
that
Grand
shit
Canyon.
fake.
look it
That's
up,
fake,
Dynast.
bro.
there are hieroglyphs
So
in the Grand
essentially,
Canyon.
what
Hold
everybody
on,
on the
guys.
panel is
Hold on, guys.
saying.
Hold on, guys.
Grand
Have
Canyon.
Dynast to look
Stop
it
it.
up. Have Dynast look it up and see if it was a
Oh my
recording. What
So
God.
was found?
essentially, what everybody is
Bro,
saying that Europeans and
bro.
other people are the only
Bro,
people
look,
that have the
No, the
ability
look,
to
Arizona, that's
build vessels.
already been debunked. The Arizona Gazette, whoever wrote that paper, it came from a paper in the early 1900s, like 1908, something like that. That
look.
dude was a forgery. He claimed that he got this information from the Smithsonian something,
Okay,
and people that
Egyptians.
hold on. People from the actual Smithsonian scholars or anthropologists from the Smithsonian in one of those institutions, they already came out and they showed that the scientists that this guy claimed that found these things did not even exist, and they wasn't even in the registry from this institute. So that's bullshit. It doesn't exist, bro. Ain't no Egyptians been in no Americas, and Egyptians ain't got nothing to do with us, bro. Just get over it.
Hey,
Okay,
Experience Liberia. Hold on one
so
second.
essentially, you
Whoa,
saying
whoa, whoa, one mic.
Egyptians were not
One mic.
sophisticated
One
enough.
mic. Experience Liberia. Your sound is just.
Somebody mic is
Yeah,
underwater.
Experience Liberia. You got to call in on a.
Yeah, his
throw the Obama phone away. Experience Liberia. You got to call back in. Oh, we're gonna debunk this.
Okay,
Right
can
now.
you hear me now?
That's better, but hold on. We're gonna debunk this right
Okay.
now. We're gonna debunk this right now. Hold on. Give me a second. We're gonna debunk this right now.
essentially what everybody is saying is
Hold up.
You have reached Grand Canyon National Park. If you have a life-threatening emergency, please hang up and dial 911. For more park information, visit our website at www. You have reached Grand Canyon National Park. If you have a life-threatening emergency, please hang up and dial 911. For more park information, visit our website at www.nps.gov/GRCA. If you're calling from a touch-tone phone, press 1. If you know your employee's name or their extension number, press 1. For weather, roads, and special trail conditions, press 3. Lodging information, press 4. Campgrounds, press 5. Backcountry and river information, press 6. Use permits, press 7. And lost and found, press 8. For weather and road conditions, press 1. Special trail conditions, press 2. Northram. That selection is not recognized. Please make another choice.
Hold on, y'all. We gotta get to the bottom of this today. This goofy ass shit y'all be coming up with. Go ahead.
Goofy.
So when you look at the Mississippi River, right? So you got Cairo, you got Memphis. Where did those names come from?
Oh God.
Oh
Okay.
my God, those are
Damn.
modern cities, bro. Come on,
Okay.
man.
Okay. Why y'all so?
Cairo didn't even exist in ancient Egypt, bro. Come on, bro. Let's be real.
Unbelievable
Can
stuff.
anybody hear me now? Because y'all were trying to all talk me. I had to mic it up a
Yeah,
little
we can
bit.
hear you.
All right, thank you.
The problem is we be having a bunch of Negroes that don't be knowing what y'all be referring to, and y'all just get away with that shit. Now you got Negroes that know what y'all talk about can easily be debunked, and you can't try that shit, bro. You can't, especially when I'm up here, because I deal with these wabos, these pretendians in these hotels all day, and all this shit y'all talk about is just made up. Only thing
Oh,
we
you
got
saying
something
it's
to do with
folklore? That's what you're saying?
it's folklore. It's made up by African Americans. No African
And white
and
people
diaspora.
and white people when the Indians didn't tell white people that they had a false tongue, and they didn't make up a lot of papers themselves about their history.
Okay,
Wait, I'm just asking the question. I'm saying you getting it from the same source.
No, I'm not. I'm getting it
When
from
I say you getting it from the same source, I'm just saying I haven't heard no people going over into none of them places and digging up anything. Wait. Let me just finish.
Ain't none of y'all
No, it's a brother over there right now in Southern Africa. You happen to say in Southern Kemet that you haven't heard of who's digging up some stuff right now. He's the only black man that's been commissioned to dig.
What's his name?
I'm gonna put it back there in the chat. Okay,
we got a famous bioanthropologist named S.O.Y. Keita. I know some of y'all Africanists probably had heard of him before. He's an African American, and he's a real bioanthropologist. He pulls out these skeletons. He pulls them out. He does genetic analysis on. Hold on. He does genetic analysis on these, and he does not support this narrative that y'all pushing. He don't support it. We came from West Central Africa. We don't have nothing to do with those people. Those people descend, bro. Egyptians are more Sub-Saharan than they were back in ancient times.
You're using political terms to describe.
No, I'm not.
Guys, hold up. Hold up.
No such thing as Sub-Saharan.
Hours of operation and feature film information. Press 2 for IMAX information, including pricing. Press 4 for Pink Jeep Tour.
Thank you for calling Grand Canyon IMAX Theater. How may I help you?
I have a question. Are you guys affiliated with the Grand Canyon at all? I had some questions specifically about the Grand Canyon.
Okay, what was the question again?
Are you guys affiliated with the Grand Canyon? I have specific questions pertaining to the Grand Canyon itself.
Okay, we are 7 miles outside the national park.
Okay. How would I get in contact with the national park? Do you know?
How do you get a what?
How would I get in contact with the national park? Do you know?
Okay, let me give you a number. 928
928
638
638
7888.
Have you been to the park before?
Sir, I lived here 40 years.
Okay, but you live in there 40 years. Was there an Egyptian presence at the Grand Canyon? Are there hieroglyphs at the Grand Canyon?
Okay, now repeat that again because you're breaking up a little bit
Okay.
every now and then.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. You've lived at the Grand Canyon for 40 years. Have you ever seen hieroglyphs or Egyptian pyramids or the Egyptian presence at the Grand Canyon?
No.
No, you said no?
No.
So there's no hieroglyphs at the Grand Canyon?
There's housing, but it's for employees only.
No, I said hieroglyphs, like in Egypt. Hieroglyphs, hieroglyphs like in Egypt and the pyramids.
No.
If someone told you that there are hieroglyphs at the Grand Canyon, that Egyptians were at the Grand Canyon, what would you say?
They're full of shit.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Hey, I'm a tour.
Hilarious.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Wow. Oh, you know what? That was classic. I have to give that one to you, man.
Bro, that was hilarious, bro.
We have to stop with this goofy shit, man. We got to stop it, Experience Liberia. Stop it.
No. See, that didn't prove anything, Dynas. That didn't prove anything.
That really did.
Oh my God, man! You can't help some people. Some people
Everybody's not saying what
they would do
experience
everything to run to everything else. Unbelievable stuff.
That did not prove anything.
It was funny.
I'm gonna find the proof and I'm gonna send it to you, Dynas.
Man, listen,
I swear everybody on this panel swears that Christians are the only people that can build seafaring vessels. Like, why is it so asinine to believe that Egyptians could have circumnavigated the planet?
Bro,
I just told you they may have
too much credit to Egyptians.
Grand Canyon. There's no
You give too much credit.
Grand Canyon, all right?
I ain't saying nothing about no Grand
They
Canyon.
didn't leave enough presence. That even if they made it here, they didn't leave enough presence here.
Niger, maybe we just have not found the presence. We're
God.
Bro, you give ancient Egyptians way too much credit. You give them way more credit than they deserve, bro.
Africulture concept. You literally refer to East Africans or anybody below the Sahara as Sub-Saharan. Bro, we can't have the same conversation.
Yes, we can. That's because my understanding. No. It started off as political terms, but now it's used scientifically.
Okay, let me tell you what it is. It's a political term.
Hold on.
To disassociate black Africans from the
whatever, bro. It's a scientific term used. No, it's a scientific term used because you can genetically cluster.
Please tell me what part of science backs up that term.
I just told you genetics and anthropology, my brother. You can cluster African. Bro, can you shut the fuck? Can you please be quiet for a second?
That's not science.
Can you please, bro? You can cluster.
Anthropology is not science.
Yes, it is, bro. You can cluster.
Anthropology is not science.
Here you go with your religion shit again, bro. Can you be quiet for a second? You can cluster genetics with people from Sub-Saharan Africa more closer than you can
there is
with
no
people
such thing as Sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay, bro, in your mind is not, but in countries that's below the Sahara, in country with people like
these countries didn't exist 50 years ago.
Can you let me talk? Every time I say something that hurt your feelings, you just blurt out
my feelings, bro. You just sound
ignorant. Be quiet. Well, be quiet. I only sound ignorant to you. Because you don't understand, you don't read this shit, you don't study this shit.
Right.
But bro,
you disassociate West Africa from East Africa.
I'm not.
Disassociate the North from the rest of the continent. That's no different than what you always do.
Concept, calm down. One at a time. One at a time. What is this? One at a time.
We're about to hold on. We're about to debug something else. Hold on one second. We'll make a phone call.
Oh God.
Jesus, man. Y'all. Hold on.
Thank you for calling American Anthropological Association. Please listen closely to our menu options. For reception, please press 0. For membership, please press 1. Let me transfer you to the operator. Receptionist is currently unavailable. Please leave a message.
All right, you guys continue. Hold on.
The reason why I disassociate West Africa from other parts of Africa is because they developed their own technologies and cultures independent of other parts of Africa. Not because of what you trying to say is, they below other people. No,
you like said hold on, bro.
Let me finish talking. Let me
finish talking. One at a time.
Let me finish talking, bro. God damn.
All right, go ahead.
Like the iron, like it's a big ordeal right now because they discovering ancient iron complexes in West Africa that existed prior to Middle Eastern iron complexes. And now you got white folks saying, "Oh, that's because Middle Eastern people from Carthage taught them how to smelt iron." When you got soil
You got old ass soil. Basically, the soil in West Africa, some parts of West and Central Africa, has iron. This material, basically iron deposits that's naturally been there for thousands of years since prehistoric time. That's one thing that I can pull out on one of the reasons why I divide West Africa from other parts of Africa, because it's several things, like for the iron complex in different cultures that they have that exist there for thousands of years, that develop independently of any other part of Africa, any other part of Sub-Saharan, North Africa, whatever you want to call it. And the reason why I use Sub-Saharan Africa is because now in modern day science, genetics, and anthropology, you can cluster skulls and genomes more closer together in those parts of Africa than you can other parts of Africa. Just so happen, people in North Africa, they have more history and cultural connections with Middle Eastern people than people in Sub-Saharan Africa. Not because of your political shit, but because the Sahara is a huge natural border that's dry as hell, and hardly anybody goes there, and hardly any people live there. That's all I gotta say, bro.
I think you're getting it wrong. Let me just explain. I think you are getting something seriously wrong. Sorry, let me just address this. You know that the Sahara was green just about 6,000 years ago.
The Sahara was green.
Hold on. Let me finish my point. Hold on, let me finish my point. Let me hold on now. Just finish talking.
Now you're doing what you said I was doing.
Let me finish my point.
That's because I said that. I brought that up.
Hold on.
That's how Egypt was formed, from the Green Sahara.
Can you just stop?
Yeah, you got it.
You've just been talking. The Sahara was green just 6,000 years ago. If you look at West Africa today, the diversity you see in West Africa cannot necessarily be explained by just the geographical features. In Nigeria alone, we have about, I think in West Africa alone, we have about 1,000 languages in West Africa alone. And even when I was there, I thought, is this a prison camp? How is it that a few miles from here, you will see somebody speaking into a totally different language? I tell you, it is a language that sounds like Chinese in Nigeria. That is crazy stuff. And I didn't know it just till this year.
Is that correct?
That is how diverse that region is. And it tells you that that area was more expansive before. Till today, the Sahara is still expanding and pushing people further south. The kingdom of Kush, that used to be their capital before, is now a desert. So what was happening was that even Egypt, their capital, was 1,000 kilometers from the Mediterranean Sea during their founding. So if you are trying to say that Egypt was founded by the Middle Eastern people, that is clearly wrong. It doesn't mean that later on.
Nah, I'm not saying it.
It doesn't mean that later on there hasn't been a lot of influx from foreigners. Like I said, 3,000 something years ago was the first time Egypt fell to non-Africans. Since then, they never looked back. They kept coming in. Sahara didn't help. Sahara kept pushing the black people further south. So in other words, the Sahara is pushing the black people south while opening the gates for people to come in from the north. And this is the trend that still carries on till today. That said, if you look at this is the founding of Egypt itself, just go and look at the Namata.
Great. I had a couple questions about anthropology. I'm very interested in anthropology, and I had a question. Would anthropology be considered a form of science?
Yes, it is in our College of Arts and Science program, as a matter of fact.
Okay, so anthropology is a science. Oh, okay. All right. I'm on your guys' site, just learning more about anthropology, and I just had that question because, someone said that anthropology isn't science, and I just thought that was a very weird take. So I just wanted to call and get facts on that because, I'm, interested in learning more about anthropology.
Yeah, it's very. I actually have not gone to college here. I just started as a staff worker, working in the administrative. However, there's so many aspects of anthropology that is just unbelievable. It is very interesting, and yes, it is a science. There's several aspects of it: biological, cultural, and archaeological, but also with the forensics. That's the big part right there.
Okay, well, hey, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You have a good day.
Bye-bye.
But she white though, right?
Another
She
great
white.
one again.
No,
Another
this
great
is
one again.
this is something
See,
you
come
can
on, man.
easily Google.
You guys have to give it to
You
Dynasty.
can
But you just
easily
said
We
Google
gotta
this.
stop, man.
Now
We
we
you
got to
gotta
just
go
said
to
stop
white
At
with
folks.
least the
all this
bucket or
goofy
some of the
We
shit,
got to
bro.
go to
president
white
said
folks for the right
like
for the right
I
answer
mean,
now.
pyramids,
This is
pyramids,
something that's easily
pyramids in the
Google. You can
Grand
Google
Canyon.
this.
Anthropology isn't science. We gotta just stop, man.
Okay,
y'all on that
okay. You can
bullshit.
Google this. You
It's
can
another
Google this.
bullshit.
You don't have
It's
to
another
call and
bullshit.
ask a white person
Oh
who
my
just
god.
got put on the job and
this
didn't
But
go to
he
college for it.
but he wanted to
concept
call
don't be
somebody
saying
that worked at the place.
Africans
I
are
didn't want to
completely
call
separate. They're not
anyone.
totally separate
I'd
from
like
each
to
other.
respond to what Africulture Concept said if y'all let
That's
me
because
respond.
you just want to hear yourself say that religious BS, that
Let him
I
talk
have
now.
Afrocentrism
nothing
Let
to
him
BS.
do
That's
with
he
it.
has a
religion.
right to his own say now. Let him
I
just have
have
his
nothing.
Afrocentrism is a belief, bro. That's it.
Okay, I have nothing to do with religion. I'm going off pure science. What you
Nah,
said was a crock of
Afrocentrism ain't
BS, bro. What you said, you
Afrocentrism ain't
literally gave
science.
your own. You
Bro, you
literally
just
gave
said
your own
no. I
reason.
didn't. No, I didn't. You can look up
You literally,
SOYK
bro.
to
You won't
bro.
even let me speak.
You because you talking bullshit.
concept. Allow him to talk.
You
Come on,
talking
man.
Did I
bullshit.
not
You've
let
had
this
your
dude
say. It's only
speak?
fair. Allow him to have his
Bro,
own say.
you
Did I
barely
not
let
let
me
this
speak.
dude speak and
You barely,
I
and
didn't
every
talk when
time,
he was
bro,
talking?
every time you say something, Dinah's
Hold on,
make a
y'all. I
call
got
and debunk you.
everybody saying I need to call a blackity black source.
Blackity black, call him.
So give me a second. Give me a second, guys. Give me a second. Give me a second.
Okay, so can I speak uninterrupted like you did Africulture Concept?
I never did.
2 minutes.
Bro,
No,
you
bro.
you literally went on a dialogue for 2 minutes. Nobody talked.
I put something in the back for all y'all brothers
the
that
pyramid
is
is
dealing
the
straight
Grand
with this
Canyon.
subject. Yeah, I told you there was a person who was commissioned to dig and find, and the same thing y'all talking about. We can call him. I hope he's in the country. But as all the stuff that I said, it's in the back chat. Y'all can go and check it out. His name is Tony Brower. So y'all can see for yourself. He's been digging over there, I think, for like 2.5,
Browder's from
3
Chicago.
years.
Browder's from Chicago. I'm very familiar with him.
Okay. So, just like I say, is I'm still learning. That's my last name, still learning. And so I believe that it's a person who believes they know everything is already dead. They just ain't pushed themselves in the dirt.
That's
So
all I'm
as
saying
you
too. Science is always evolving.
That's your only comeback for somebody that know more than you.
And our understanding for science is always evolving as well. What you said, Africulture Concept about Sub-Saharan Africa and how West Africans are different from everybody else in Africa is just a crock of bullshit, bro. You have nothing.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. Your face
That's
is
literally what you
bullshit. But what I
said.
said, no,
This is why I separate West Africa
this is
from
why
the
I
rest
said.
of. You said this is
Bro,
why I
no.
separate
I'm talking
West
about
Africa
West
from the rest
Africa
of the continent.
No, West Africa in general, but I separate all parts of Africa where people develop their own cultures at.
Africa is
But I'm
Africa.
talking about
People have always migrated.
Whatever. Asia is Asia, but people look different in Asia too. You got
And
Mongoloids in Asia.
Asians have always migrated as well.
You got Mongoloids in Asia. You got Caucasoids in Asia. You got Sub-Saharans in Africa. You got Caucasoids in Africa. You need to get over
Sub-Saharan
it.
is not
You
a
need to get
race.
okay. Well, you got
Mongoloid is a
Negroids.
race.
You got
Caucasoid is
Negroids.
a race.
Okay. Well, you got
Sub-Saharan is not a
Negroids.
race.
You got Negroids in Africa and you got Caucasoids in Africa. They are all of them indigenous to Africa.
Anybody
Just like
that's
you
in
got
Africa that's a
Mongoloid.
Caucasoid is an
But look,
invader that never
no, they
left.
not. No, they not. If that's the case, you're talking about Cushitic people, Ethiopic people. They are invaders because they don't look like you. It's totally not. It's totally don't. They have prehistoric admixture from ancient Natufians.
It makes no difference. They still have admixture. That's why they look like that.
The Natufian people emerged in North Africa, bro. They left Africa and went to the Levant and came back to Africa.
You literally just made the Sahara Desert seem like it was an impassable barrier.
Bro, the Natufian people lived on the north coast of Africa. They emerged from the Ibero-Mauritian culture. They walked up and down the coast of North Africa, bro. Some of them already lived on the Horn of Africa.
There are people that migrated from the east of Africa all the way over to the west. What's your point?
All right, hold on. Let me read the super chat. I had to drop a super chat just because you went to the next level of actually making phone calls on the line. All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
I just don't understand what his point is.
I know you don't understand because your mind you don't have the capacity. You don't, bro. You don't, okay, but you don't have the capacity to understand this because you are warped. Your mind is warped by Afrocentrism. Your mind is warped by Afrocentrism.
I do understand when somebody says some slick shit, and you said some slick shit back along about 8 minutes ago. You said that the only reason a person would say something like that is when somebody knows something more than them. No, bro. I'm speaking to the person who said that. I'm only speaking to the person who said that. And so the reason why I say that is, you're talking about science, bro. Look up the definition of science, you'll find out it's nothing but a theory.
No, science is not a theory. Science is based on things that you can
read me the definition? Could you read me the definition? Could you read me the definition?
I have.
Can you read me the definition? I want to hear your Martin Luther King speak. Can you read me the definition?
I have an associate's in applied science and electrical engineering, my brother.
I'm glad you do. I'm glad you do.
No, science.
I'm glad you do. And if you didn't learn that in one-on-one, then something was wrong with your class. Maybe you was out to lunch when they had this discussion.
Just like prehistoric West Africans, they use science in order to smell iron before everybody else. They use science because they
who was the first person to map out the solar system, brother?
Yeah, I'm not agreeing with
No, stop. I asked you a direct question. Who was the first person to map out the solar system to the T?
I don't know.
Oh, that person's name is lost forever. We don't know that individual.
I know, but it was a tribe in Africa called the Dogon tribe. It's the Dogon tribe. So look it up, bro. So this is what they had a star that we didn't find until 9 years ago.
It's called Sigataro Sirius. I know what you're talking about.
And so they did it without what?
But the Dogon weren't the first.
I know. Listen, what I'm just saying.
Exactly who the first
okay, we might don't know, but we can go back. We can go. Wait. What I'm saying is, we can go back to a people who didn't have a microscope, a telescope, and they did it to the T.
Yes.
How do you know How do you know they didn't use a tool though? Maybe they had a tool.
Again, that tribe, bro, that tribe is still here.
Okay, but they're not originally.
They descend from Mende people, bro. So it doesn't.
So what I'm saying is, your same schools and stuff you went with, brother. What I'm saying is, your same school and all this stuff that we talk about said these people was liars. And then when they found that other star, it was only one mistake. That one star.
My school never said Dogon people were liars. I never said that. I never said any of that.
I'm saying in the whole of this conversation.
But bro, all I'm saying is
white people have always debunked our scholars or tried to.
I never said that. I never said that. All I'm saying is that people have developed things that they have or things that they master independently. It's not a first, it's not a nothing. Some people do things independently, like you trying to say black people built these pyramids and then they went to the America and built the pyramid. Yes, a lot of things happen independently, bro.
Everything is built on knowledge that was already there. Nothing happens in a vacuum. We are all.
Can you do that same concept with a car? Can you do that same concept with an airplane? I'm just asking. You saying what you're saying now? I'm saying, can you apply these same methods to a car or a plane? It starts from somewhere, right?
People can build. They can build things that based off of what they discover independently, bro. They can do that, and they have done.
The first man ever built a car, never seen one. The first man built a plane, never seen one. So it has to start, brother. What is you not understanding? The start or have?
It's based on knowledge already obtained and passed down, bro. Nothing happens in a vacuum.
Your point proves what I'm just saying. You just
and
said
I'm glad it do.
You just said the first man.
But I'm just saying you're arguing against yourself. That's what I was saying from the beginning.
But what my point is to go against this. We did this first shit. Like people can develop
So we didn't.
things. No, what I'm telling you is people can develop things independently in their own region, just like West Africans develop they diverse cultures in West Africa. That's what I'm saying.
Hey, let me pass it to Theo, because Theo's been waiting. Go ahead, Theo. Then we're gonna start closing out. Go ahead, Theo.
Oh man, I don't even know where to start, but part of me wants to ask, like, what are we trying to establish when we try to make these connections? But I think it's to kind of build a sort of self-esteem amongst Black folks, to kind of show the can-do in history, right? So I guess when you can say Black people built the pyramids, it kind of shows that we're capable of doing such feats. But I feel like the only reason we do this is because of where we are now, right? And the progress or lack thereof that we're making now. Because if Black people are, inventing, or at the forefront of invention today, then we wouldn't feel the need to try to prove that we built the pyramids, right? That's really what it comes down to, which leads me to believe that the real solution, right, for the self-esteem and confidence of Black folks is moving forward to get the youth into STEM and move forward doing the things that contribute positively to greater humanity, right? Because really, when you look at the hieroglyphs, it almost looks multicultural, right? I mean, you can see they intentionally use different pigments of paint to represent people, right? So I wouldn't doubt it if some of the people involved in the pyramids were Asians, some Africans, some Europeans even, or Middle Eastern, Greek, however you want to say it. But I think people have been moving around for millennia, right? So you really can't, how do you contribute? You can say, is the contribution the idea that, hey, let's build a pyramid? Is it the science of actually the architecture into building the pyramid? Is it the manpower, right? And you really don't know who played what role. But we can't say all of it was vital and necessary, but does the person who had the idea take all the credit? Does the person who actually designed the pyramid take all the credit? Does the people who did the heavy lifting take all the credit, right? It doesn't even matter, right?
Theo, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Why do you think it's so important for they get a hold to our minds from the 1st grade to the 12th grade if history is not that important?
Well, I'll say this, right? I went to public school, and in my class, I was in the class with white, Black, Asian. So if they taking a hold of my mind, they taking a hold of everybody's mind. Like that.
Well, I'm not saying that. I ain't saying that. My question is, if historical events is not that important to build confidence, then why you think it's so important for them to tell their story from the 1st to the 12th grade?
No, and you know what? I'm not. I think it's the same thing applies, right? The idea is to establish a sort of confidence, right? So, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. I'm not saying
you sit down in that same seat. When let me just get the next question as a follow-up.
Okay.
This is why we have to think. We have to really apply thinking. We have to put on that Black thinking cap and understand something. In that same seat, maybe it have changed today, I don't know. I haven't been to school in a while. But in that same seat that a white guy is sitting down there to get superior by his story, that Black child is sitting there thinking he's inferior.
Yeah. Okay.
So how we deal with this?
No,
if we don't have the conversation with our children, our education must start in our homes, because we can't We can't leave it to our oppressors to really educate our children to have confidence. I think this is what the whole story, what I said when I first started off, was that if you already know that the record of running a 100-yard dash could be broken from 10 because it stayed at 10 so
I
long.
get exactly what you said, and it made perfect sense, right? It shows the can do. It shows the
Yes.
that it can be done. And once you know something is humanly possible, then as a human being, you feel like it's possible for you. And in the context of the world we live in, where people are racially divided, you don't merely need it to be shown that it's humanly possible, but you have to show that Black people can do it sometimes, because we've been treated as if we're not just part of one big human family, whereas we can look at, let's say white folks built the pyramids. Why can't we internalize that and say, well, human being built the pyramids, so if a human did it, I can do it too. But instead we have to say humans built the pyramids, but it was a white person. So I don't know if Black people are. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah, I got you.
That's the
I call it the
psychological
Buster
problem right
Douglas
there.
effect. I call it the Buster Douglas effect. Once people seen Buster Douglas beat Mike Tyson ass, not too many people were ready to go and was scared of him in the ring. Most of the people lost the fight with Mike Tyson because they thought he couldn't be beat. But once Buster Douglas whooped his ass, for all you youngsters out there who might know about Mike Tyson, don't have to go back into the running. You understand that concept. Humans have a certain way they think. Once they know a feat has been mastered, then they go to the next level. Like when I first started using the phone, it was a dial-a phone. Now you went from that to the digital phone. Then you went from that to the shortwave phone. Then you went to that to the smartphone. So all this builds the next evolution of technology, just except knowing that certain feats have already been mastered. And so this is why I say we can do both at the same time, but not leaning on
that is
one,
correct.
not leaning on the other.
The entire thing is a feedback loop. I use this term very, very a lot these days, because what I find is that things are often not only one-sided. You have to feed it into it. Like if the young generation are feeling like they have inferiority complex, the only way to solve it is to start succeeding. If you start succeeding, then it will reinforce their positive outlook on life. And you can also educate them. Just by educating them alone, it's not going to be good enough. There has to be, because that will be on end confidence. You just say, no, I'm great. But why are you great? There has to be a reason. It has to be tied to achievements, and we have to start achieving. So that's on us. The grown-ups have to start achieving and aspiring for more. Then the children would look at you, because I think there was a research that was done that said what inspires children the most is what their parents have accomplished, because it tells them it is possible, they can do more, and that is what we have to start demonstrating ourselves.
Yeah, people have to see it in their environment, because even if you say, Black people, built the pyramids, thousands of years ago, there's still a disconnect, right? Because that's not going to be enough necessarily, because it can kind of say, well, those people knew something we didn't. You get what I'm saying? So that wouldn't be enough necessarily to inspire, the type of confidence. It can give like do something for the ego maybe, or pride, but you have to almost see things in your environment. I truly agree with you that the can do that you see from history does matter, but I think it can be limited also. I think
knowledge of self brings all that out into the development. Knowledge of self brings all that into the full flower, bro. So what I'm saying is each little piece is different levels of how you get there.
But applied learning is what's gonna get it done, bro. Learn about
right.
What you
I mean,
said,
wait a minute. You're right, brother. I agree along with you. When anything that you get any knowledge or any education or anything, you got to apply the work behind it. But you can't.
I'll say this, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'll say this: like, I totally understand why we look back and we try to find examples of, ancient black empires, just examples of black people living in magnificence or doing magnificent things. It all has everything to do with the state of black people as we see it now, right? We kind of see ourselves at the bottom. We try to find examples of ourselves in another space on the social hierarchy or in the social spectrum, right? Other than where we are now, as an example to inspire us or reassure us that we are not, indeed, inferior or at the bottom, right? We try to, grab on to something. And I think it's relevant to a degree, but I also think it's necessary to be able to just look at human endeavors, whether it be black, white, Asian, or whatever, and say that human being did it. I'm a human being. I can do it too. There's nothing innately different about them, right? They don't have anything that I don't, that I can't do. And I think it's been done, right? We see this unfold the more and more people actually apply themselves to different endeavors, right? Because there was once upon a time when, you wouldn't have, I didn't imagine like a black person in the Olympic swimming, or I didn't envision a black person at the forefront of gymnastics, or a black person at the forefront of tennis. There was a time, or, just like the young guy up in Northern Virginia, up by DC, the young kid, black kid who just, he created a soap. I think he's like 16 years old that fights skin cancer. So he won this, he's like the top young scientist in the nation right now, black kid, but I think that just comes from being immersed, in the right environment, being surrounded by the right people, the right things, right information, and having the opportunity and ability to apply yourself.
Theo, I'm going to ask you one more question.
Let me just say
Can I
something
just one question? He go answer this because he don't get to talk that much. We talk over him. Theo, let me ask you one question, because you did bring an excellent point. It's one of the points that I drive, especially with the people that I surround myself with. Which thing do you think is important, logic or imagination?
Oh man, I honestly, that's a hard one. I mean, logic definitely both have their place, but you need logic, man. I take imagination in the grand scheme of the animal kingdom as like icing on the cake for like survival and being able to progress, right? Logic allows us to survive. Imagination allows us to progress, right? Because through imagination, you're actually that's the tool for progressing. I would, that's how I see that.
In other words, survive. Both are important in their own way. But however, I think, was it not Einstein that said imagination or something like, or ideas is greater than this knowledge. The for me anyway, the way I look at this type of this issue is that we can't even start describing the level of debt that the entire human population owes to the African genetic base. And some of our inventions. Do you know that the earliest writing that has been discovered now goes back 50,000 years, and it was found in Africa? So even the math, the first kind of 50,000 years, the first kind of writing on ostrich eggs was found back all the way back to 50,000 years ago in South Africa. And then the Shango bone that they found, the first kind of maths that has been demonstrated, was done in Africa, and it was along the line of the Great Lakes, and that ended up in Egypt too. So some of it, if you really look deep, you start looking at everything, you guys would not have anything to apologize for to anybody. And right now we are like Esau in the Bible that sold his birthright, and we start subscribing to desert dwellers to tell us how to live our lives. we started subscribing to their gods when they got the information from us in the first place. Things we invented, because we fell in the last 400 or 500 years. I say this because historically we've never fallen, ever in history. Sub-Saharan Africa never fell to anyone. They did not for lack of trying. The Romans tried to come south, and the Kush people stopped him from coming south when they were colonizing UK. When they were taking the UK people as slaves, a one-eyed queen stopped the Romans in Kush from coming further south. It's not because Sub-Saharan Africa was hidden. It wasn't hidden. There's a coastal region you can sail by boat. You can literally use canoe to come to Africa. But we're there. We're there for thousands of years. Nobody ever came there to come and challenge our supremacy until we went to Europe, taught them so a lot of tricks, and then they followed us back. It was like, almost like we invited them to the continent. They followed us back straight after the Moors left from Europe, and they came into Africa, and from then Africans started falling. And the Mansa Musa didn't help. That he went with a lot of resources, went and flaunted the resources all the way to Mecca. You see, this is another aspect of us again.
Way more credit than he deserves, man.
Yeah, no, that guy, I really am cross with him.
What was his legacy? What did he leave?
He destroyed the continent. He invited greed.
He had some good campaigns, but he fucked up some shit too.
What did he do? He went and squandered the resources of his country, then invited attention to Africa. Without the wealth that man had, he could have taken over the entire continent and maybe expanded into Europe. But
let's be real about this. It's only through exploitation that one person can get rich off of a resource. It's not like he invented anything. Do you get what I'm saying?
They did invent some things, and he created one of the first universities. But what I was saying was that they went and converted
the kingdom that possessed those things. But as an individual, as a person, he just got credit for owning a resource that came from the earth, right? So they attribute being the wealthiest person to Mansa Musa, but it's not like he got that. He inherited his position. So there was no.
They were forging iron. They were one of the first to be forging their civilization in that area. It's some of the oldest calendars in the world are found in that region, West Africa.
As an individual, Mansa Musa himself,
Mansa Musa is rubbish. See, personally, I am one of those who that hold him accountable for the problems that Africans faced after, because he squandered a lot of opportunities and he squandered a lot of things. That said, what I'm trying to say is that we as Africans, if you look at what he did, he went and converted to Islam, and because of Islam again, he did what he did and squandered a lot of money to Mecca and came back, and he invited our demise. But when you look at it, because here's some Muslims, they would like to brag about the great civilizations of Africa was due to Islam. No, because the kingdom that came before it, which was the Ghana kingdom, the Benin kingdom, all the other kingdoms that were empires, they lasted way longer than the Islamic empires. The Islamic empires, very, very brief, 100, 200 years, they're gone. And how did they go? They fell in the hands of these other Muslims. Was it not a Moroccan Muslim that came and destroyed the Songhai Empire?
And the giant of the Sahara too.
Yeah. If we keep subscribing to other people's religions and way of life without taking ownership of it, and this is something that we really need to know the difference. Europeans, when they signed on to Christianity, they took ownership of it. If anything, they turned on the Jews for it. They said, "You killed Christ." They took the headquarters and put it in Rome. The Muslims, when they became Muslims, they stopped worshiping facing this in Jerusalem. They started facing their own people. They are not stupid. They started facing Mecca. But when we want to worship, we worship other people. And that strategic thinking, we don't seem to have it. And I think it's because we don't have our own message. And that's something we need to start coming up with, because we are a mighty people. We make up 1.3 billion. That's the Niger Congo group alone, not the entire continent of Africa. The Niger Congo group alone, if you put the Americans, the Brazilians, all over the world, we make up 1.3 billion. We are a mighty people. We have to act like that. We are one of the great races in the world. We are the only one that don't have any protection. We don't have any nuclear umbrella. We don't have anything. Every other group have it. we are sleeping on the wheels. And I'll end with this. We may not it may not necessarily be our fault. And I tell you that these Americans and these Europeans are very, very clever people. They don't want to wake up. They don't want to wake our people up to this truth, because they know if they sting us, that 1.3 billion will wake up and they will never go to sleep again anytime soon. And this is why you see on the continent, they never come and invade the continent, the black continent. They went to Egypt, Libya, but they never come to Sub-Saharan Africa. Look at this recent coup that happened. Do you see how America was dancing like this thing? They don't want to act as if they want to go and fight. But Egypt, in Israel, oh yeah, let's go. Tell them warship, let's go and fight.
Hey, let me pass it. Lumumba speaks. Go ahead, Lumumba.
Oh, I got to leave, guys.
All right.
It's been a nice conversation. I will be checking in. Would you please put your channel in the back chat? Please share, hit thumbs up. Keep this conversation going, because without the conversation, we have nothing to look forward with, because we all have a different mindset. Peace, love, and always strive for the truth. Your results always tell you the truth.
Go ahead, Lumumba.
So where am I jumping in at? What's the conversation now?
Go ahead. You just do what you want to do, Lumumba. Go ahead. We all over the place. Go ahead.
Well, OHIO, got to start there.
Oh man, good.
You know what I mean? But just to reiterate, I was on the show before. I think once again, this is an issue where we're looking at self-abnegation. Black people, particularly African Americans.
Lumumba, here we go. I'm sorry to interject. So somebody came on the chat and said that hieroglyphs are found in the Grand Canyon, and that's proof that Egyptians.
Stop! You're making this up. I'm
dead serious. And they were.
I need somebody else. I need someone else to substantiate that.
Hold on, Lumumba. Listen, hold on. So you know what I did? I called the Grand Canyon on the phone, and they were like, "No," and whoever said that is full of shit. But the person still wanted to.
So I would say this, as someone who actually teaches high African American history at the collegiate level, we find a lot of Black people, for a multitude of reasons, but I would argue, one, being intellectually lazy, not actually wanting to study the history, making things up. And as a matter of fact, we find a lot of people in the so-called Black conscious community who take advantage of Black people being ignorant, and they just make things up. A good example would be Tariq Nasheed, right? Another example would be Dr. Umar Johnson. Another example would be Riza Islam, to where they know. I give you another example. What was that guy, what's the guy who said he was healing people of AIDS? What's his name? Dr. Sebi. They all take advantage of Black people, being ignorant of particularly knowledge or history, culture, etc., and they use that to their benefit, right? Because that's absolutely nonsensical. But it's also one of the reasons why individuals don't take Black people, particularly Black history, seriously, because one of the major arguments in the academy is they just make stuff up. So this is an actual academic discipline that's worthy of study, because they don't actually cite actual real sources. Like I said, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima's book that came before Columbus, it's just charismatic storytelling. So I find that's wild that somebody would have the unmitigated gall to sit up on a public platform and make a claim that could be easily deconstructed. That is just. That's almost like being a UGA fan. That's just wild.
Oh God! Oh boy! Here we go. But
that's wild. That's wild though, man.
That's why only.
But Brother Theo, Brother Costa, Brother Nova, Afro culture concepts. This isn't hyperbole. Somebody actually did this today.
Yep.
Wow.
That's why only the conscious community fall for that shit.
Yeah, because a lot of it is.
Lumumba, sorry to cut you off. I'm glad you're here. And there's somebody who was on the panel still said that anthropology is not science.
Well, anthropology is a social science.
Thank you.
It's a social science.
It's a science.
Thank you.
Anthropology is a science. It's the same science.
Just Google it.
Biological
Just
science.
Google it.
Come on.
Just Google it.
Social science is a science.
I don't know.
That's not biology. That's not chemistry.
Yeah, there's a difference between a natural science, biology, chemistry, things like that, and a social science, right? So psychology is a social science. Sociology is a social science. Political science, social science. Anthropology is a social science.
How is this? How is the? How is the?
So how does anthropology help us with STEM?
How is
Based on
craniometric?
evidence, repeatability. Come on.
How are craniometric / genomic studies you with the use of body parts and biological material? How is that a social science?
Oh, so I would say this: anthropology is the study of humanity, right? And what we have found historically was anthropology was used to create scientific racism. So people, they would craniology, they would look at people's skulls and say, oh, because the person has, this size, skull, this means they're less intelligent, so on and so forth. So we saw a lot. We've seen historically a lot of scientific racism coming out of anthropology, right? There was a situation, I think, at the World's Fair in St. Louis where they even had black people, a brother from the continent in a actual actual cell with animals and chimpanzees, so on and so forth. So anthropology is more so a social science rather than
I think Lumumba, you're not doing a good service to what science.
Yeah, because anthropology is not a social science.
Hold on.
Science
let me. Can I just say something, please? Can I just say something, because this is quite. Can I say something? Hold on, Castor. Come on, hold on. See, you are not doing a good service to what science represents. Science is a study of any subject based on evidence that can be repeated. Repeatability. In other words, it can be predicted. So the idea that social science is any less a science, I don't think you are doing a disservice to what science actually stands for.
And
because
just because
they have quarks.
Social science does serve a purpose. I never said it didn't. It does.
And just because people develop racial notions off of anthropology doesn't make anthropology a social science.
Those are individuals.
So if I could, but that's how
social science is still science. Why are people confused about this?
But if
social science is still science.
If I could, Afro culture, anthropology was created as a derivative of colonialism. So anthropology was created by white people going to different parts of the world, studying their culture, and then using their knowledge of the culture against the people. A good example that we find in Hollywood is the movie Avatar. Right? Has anyone seen the movie Avatar?
The big blue people, not
the big blue people. Yeah. So in that movie, that's what they were using anthropology, studying the people's culture, studying who they are, their way of life, and then at the end of the day, they would use that as a way to try to overtake them, take their land, so on and so forth.
But that's why it's more of an art than it is science.
You can back me on that, but anthropology is a derivative of colonialism.
Well, let me say that.
Okay.
Saying that someone using science.
Man, a few minutes ago, y'all was trying to make me look like I was crazy.
So was science a derivation of which look crazy. Come on, man. So was normal science a derivation of witch doctors. So we can't just use just because some people abused it in the past and say it's no longer a science. Those people we are maligning it. There are people maligning science in today, even in physics and other areas of science. There's no definitive scientific conclusion on anything. Just because some people abuse it before,
you can't mix racism with chemistry. I'm sorry, it
still
don't
not
work.
valid as a science.
You can't mix racism with biology. I'm sorry, it just don't work. If
go and try it now in biology. In biology, they try to claim that some people are superior.
Modern anthropology goes against they have efforts going against the old colonial anthropological framework that we had before.
It means absolutely nothing, but that don't change.
It makes you absolutely wrong.
You can see why. Anthropology can easily be
medicine
abused.
is a science.
Modern anthropology.
You can see why anthropology can easily be abused, because if you look at it from the point of view of Europeans those days, when they were enslaving us and doing what they were, that they don't know much. Most of them don't know that much. They can easily say, oh, you know what? This would look like they are dumb. We are smarter based on this evidence that I'm looking at. That's the conclusion they will reach based on the evidence they have. but it's a wrong conclusion because they don't have enough information. So eventually, all those were discounted, and eventually the truth came out that, okay, this is not about inferiority stuff. If anything, there's a chance that the Africans are actually smarter because they have a lot of genetic diversity. So science remains what it is. And this is what made the Europeans great, actually, because they separated science from religion. Religion had a way of stifling science. What they did was they even jailed Galileo for house arrest for life because he dared to suggest that the earth was traveling around the sun.
They killed him.
So, but they ended up after that period, there was a kind of a rebellion. I think the British and all they rebelled against it, and then they started separating science from religion. Once they did that, the progress in the world, that's what we are living in today. How quickly it happened. So science has its merits, and also people challenge it. It's peer reviewed. It's not like people just make stuff up and.
That's the great thing about science. That's the great thing about science. You can be peer reviewed, and people gonna check your ass.
Right. You're right about that. When you're talking about, and particularly in the academy, because I actually I do peer review for a qualitative journal, and if you make any claim that is false, they will desk reject your shit. Like literally get it out of here.
But that's a double-edged sword too, because even if you present some evidence that they have never heard of and they're just not comfortable with accepting it in a moment, they'll do the same thing with you. They've done it to
but if you can duplicate it, if you can duplicate your findings, then they will learn to accept it.
But what if
that's very true. But like if you can replicate it, if you can replicate it, you can show, like, so typically to prove something scientifically, you also have to be able to unprove it. So I give you all an example. I actually talked to my students about this last week. Because like the brother was saying, I think it's to Niger, how like religion tends to come in and conflate things. There's a student who was like, super Christian in my class and had some issue with history. But so we all know water contains what? Hydrogen and oxygen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you could disprove. How do you prove that? If you remove one of those elements, you don't have water anymore, right? So it's something there have to be claims that can be substantiated. Right. So that's the big deal. But I'm sorry to go back to this. I just can't believe that somebody came on this platform and said that the Grand Canyon had hieroglyphics.
Yeah, he said it so confidently.
You know what? I heard that was Dynast and Dwight Howard's ex-boo thing.
A lot of black people believe that shit though, man.
But it's very, very true. Very true, very true, and part of it I would think is one, being intellectually lazy. Like so that's a big issue. So where you can just bring stuff to people that is nonsensical and they will accept it, right? We find a lot of people who are susceptible to joining cults as a result of that, right? Intellectually lazy, not having the ability to be a critical thinker leads to people. And I even told my daughter, we were talking about this past weekend, that people that lack critical thinking are easily manipulated. So I would then say, okay, if someone's coming in and promoting something as nonsensical as the Grand Canyon has hieroglyphics, what's this person's angle? What's this person's end goal? What are they trying to accomplish? What are they trying to get out of me?
Facts.
I mean, seriously. I mean, if you think about the Nation of Islam, they make some ridiculous claims, such as what was one of the claims that Elijah Muhammad made in his book, Message to the Black Man, was that gorillas were created as a result of white people trying to graft themselves back into being black. Yeah, this is in the book, in the text.
That's hilarious.
You see what I'm saying? There's some other claims that he made in some of his books where he talked about how we're actually Asiatic black people, and that we went into the jungles of Africa because we wanted to prove that we could be hard and tough, and that's why we have kinky hair. But historically, we were very fair skinned and had hair. The texture of our hair was the texture of the hair of our eyebrows.
Yeah. Wait, this fair?
People say all kinds of weird stuff. You know that Olmec head. You know the Olmec head that we were referring to. When I heard about the Olmec head, I said, okay, let me do my research. That this has to be Africans. Man, when I went to Africa, man, I was surprised, man. Our nose is not as flat as people think, I was shocked. Those Olmec head had flat noses. You see the statue that I'm in my avatar? The nose is not flat. If you see many Nigerians, their nose are not flat like that Olmec head.
Well,
No,
a lot of
it was
people in
hard to
Congo
find.
nose is flat though.
Let me ask a question to the point real quick. Have you all is there anything that one group of people have done that has been proven to be an exclusive ability of that group of people?
I don't understand the question. Please.
What do you mean? Like, did they develop it exclusively?
Let me rephrase it. Is there anything that has been done by one race of people that it is proven no other race of people can do it?
No.
No. But I would say there's been one race of people who have created things that no other race have created.
Like pyramids.
No, and I'm not referring to the pyramids. I'm referring to creating diseases, biological weapons of warfare.
So you're saying only one group of people are capable of doing it?
No, I'm not saying capable. I'm saying there's only been one group of people who've done it.
No, that ain't true, because Asians created COVID.
But you know what?
There has been biological warfare since in the Middle Ages, where people are throwing all kinds of.
Let me finish real quick. I want y'all to get my point on this, right? So the reason why I asked this is because this is at the root of like these conversations, right? We try to get to the heart of like who has done what in history to establish who's capable of doing what now, right? And when you really look at it, there is nothing no group of people has done anywhere that can be duplicated by another people somewhere, right?
And even do better.
So, what's that?
I say, and even go on to do better. After all, the United Kingdom was enslaved by the Romans, and they went on to conquer the world.
With that said, I think the significant or the important thing as any group of people anywhere, any person to like progress is to think critically all the time, not get bogged down in dogma. And, you know, religion has its place, but I think you always have to be thinking critically about everything, even things that your parents taught you or things that you take for granted because it's part of your culture. You have to be willing to question yourself, the people around you, your environment, and everything. But also with that, you have to be willing to borrow where you can or learn where you can things from other people in places.
Hey, guys, we're gonna close out. Hey, everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynast Mirror, search for who.
OHIO.
Boo.